The rest of your night's footy right here on Grandstand AFL.
New from ABC Books.
Tom Tilley, one of the best-known journalists of his generation, shares his powerful coming-of-age memoir. From a strict Pentecostal upbringing...
Our lives revolved around the church hall.
...to questioning the life created for him.
Once their whole body had been immersed, he'd start praying in the hope the convert would speak in tongues.
To building his true self and making every moment count. Speaking in Tongues by Tom Tilley. Book and audiobook available in stores and online.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2022 AFL Premiership season.
We're gonna be kids.
Grandstand AFL.
On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
It's Saturday night in Sydney. The Swans on a 2-game skid. Essendon hoping last week's win is a circuit breaker for their season. There's a great history of fixture between these two teams, particularly at this venue, and a great recent history of close finishes. The past 5 matches decided by less than 10 points. Essendon are 2-6. It's been a poor start to the season, but that's exactly where they were last year, and they were able to recover and play finals. Can they start a similar run tonight? The Flu 5 are back for the Dons. Ridley, Durham, Kelly, Guelphy and Waterman. There are no late changes for either side. The Medi subs, Alec Waterman and also Ryan Clark, as he was last week when he was unused. Ben Cameron in commentary alongside Daniel Garb. As always, our experts. Ryan O'Keefe is along for the ride, as is Callum Sinclair. Gents, Ryan, firstly, you, what are we expecting here tonight?
Well, yeah, it's good to be back. Good to be back. Night footy at the SCG. Nice. It's dry. That's the first point here. It's dry and it's warm. But look, I think you'll see a fired up Swans after the 2 games that they've sort of dropped at the moment. Look, I know Horse would have fired them up during the week, and I suppose the man sitting across from me over here would know the inner sanctums of it. But knowing John like I do, I dare say there would have been a lot of contested, a lot of Swans, get back to Swans brand of footy, because this is a game that if they want to sort of be up towards the pointy end of the year, this is a game they can't drop. So and Essendon, look, Essendon's one of those teams for me. It's a real unknown. So you know their good can be really good, but I think the gap between their good and their bad is too big. So it'd be interesting to see how they come out and play. But I think it'll be on hot early.
Callum Sinclair, great to see you again. And, well, you do know what's been going on with the Swans. What are you anticipating tonight?
First of all, Ben, it's great to see you again and be reunited after a long, long time. But I think for both sides, it's actually a fair bit to play for tonight. You know, we were just talking a little bit off air, Garby, about the Swans. They don't want to lose 3 in a row. It's very hard to maintain, pushing into that top 4 position by losing 3 in a row this start of the year. And from an Essendon perspective, you mentioned it before, they've had that poor start, but they'll be fired up as well. You know, they're obviously looking to build some momentum going into the second half of the season. So I actually think it's going to be a really good contest.
The 5th member of our team downstairs is Sophie Clappin, keeping an eye on the boundary. Soph.
Guys, the atmosphere is building down here. It's epic and a lovely conditions in Sydney tonight. A balmy 21 degrees. Crowd is certainly filling, so there is a big buzz around the ground. It's fantastic. A bit of a recap tonight. No late changes for either side. Swans have named Ryan Clark as their medical sub, while the Bombers have nominated Alec Waterman.
Thanks, Soph. Look forward to hearing from you throughout the night. Gents, a tip before we get started. Cal, where are you going?
Well, I'll probably do have to go for the Swans. I will call that one. But as Ryan did say, they are fired up. The boys who have trained with them all week. Fair bit of contested work, trying to get back to that Swans brand.
What about you, Ryan? Where are you going?
Look, it's got to be the Swans. Look, I think they'll be bitterly disappointed they lost the Gold Coast here. So, yeah, they'll be fired up. And purely from that, I think they'll get the jump on the Bombers and keep on with the show with that.
It is interesting. I mean, Sydney have been slow starters this year. They've only won 2 of their 8 opening terms, and in first quarters they're ranked 17th in contested possession, but 9th overall throughout the season. So for whatever reason, they start slowly in the trenches. Garby, which way are you going?
I think the Swans will be too good, but they need to start well. I mean, yeah, lost 6 of 8 first terms. John Longmire made a point of that during the week about changing the way in which you train even, Cal, and trying to arrest the slide in that sense. So keen to see how Sydney start this game, but the Bombers are riding a momentum wave after that big win over Hawthorn last week. Can't wait for this one. Happy 30th birthday to you, Ben Cameron, for yesterday.
Yes, very much
you
so.
You still look 14, but happy 30th nonetheless.
So we're set to go Essendon and also the Sydney Swans at the SCG on a Saturday night. You're with Daniel Garb.
Laddams in the ruck up against Draper, and the Swans win the first clearance through Parker. He snaps it inside 50. It bounces a couple of times. Bell looks to swoop in it. So does Wicks. The two incoming players for the Swans for this one, but coming away from it inside defensive 50 is Cutler now for the Bombers. Pokes it up to the wing, and that's a good hand in front of Francis by Paddy McCartan. And the ball is out for a boundary throw in front of the interchange gates on what is a spectacular Saturday night here at the SCG. Crowd building beautifully and lots of red and black scarves outside the SCG, Ben Cameron, as we made our way in.
Adams and Draper, they lock up on the wing. Draper swats it down to the front. Warner gets the clearance though for the Swans. Kicks to half forward in the Franklin direction. Then a mop up Ridley for the Dons. Back to Heppel in game 200. Kicks a little dicey. Warner gets a hand in, but Essendon there to mop it up. Here goes McGrath running through the logo. Kicks inside 50. Kick is a good one. And the mark is taken by Francis. 40 metres out, a 45-degree angle to the left-hand side.
Probably just got stuck to the footy there, a few Swans players. I think Chad Warner came out the front, but probably just needed to swivel their heads and really allowed an unfortunate mark coming inside 50. Good ball movement, though, from Essendon.
So Aaron Francis, back last week in the game against Hawthorn. Will take a good kick. A very slow and deliberate approach. Boot to ball from 45. He starts it out to the right and it's not coming back. A minor score to start for Essendon. So one behind through the opening 90 seconds here on Grandstand AFL. Sydney yet to score.
I think Paddy McCartan played that well. He played it in front to cut it off. It just had enough weight on it to get there. But I think the intention you can see from the Swans early is showing that they're here to play.
Nick Blakey with the kick in. There's a free kick on Laddams. Just on the edge of the centre square. Goes out wider now to the outer wing. It's got McDonald in a lead. Well done by Cutler to punch the ball away from him. It's at half-back for the Bombers. Goulden tries to get Sydney moving forward. And he's won a free kick. It's for a throw. It's against Cutler. It'll go the way of James Bell, who's back in the Sydney team. They changed things up in attack, the Swans. Ronk goes out. McLean goes out. Obviously, Hickey's back in, as are Bell and Wicks. Now they send the ball deep into attack for Sydney. Good mark back there by young Zach Reid. He was a top 10 draft pick from last year and showed a bit of talent there with the defensive grab.
So Reid kicks towards halfback. Coming in McCartan. This is Paddy taking the intercept mark. 60 out from the Swans goal. Goes low and flattened onto the chest of Franklin, who marks 25 metres out on a 45-degree angle in the right forward pocket.
He's up and about, Paddy McCartan. He had a really good spoil to start, cut off one of the forward movements for Essendon earlier on, and backing himself is a really good mark, to back himself to take an intercept mark, and that was a lovely laser pass in there to Franklin.
Now, Buddy Franklin has made a career of tearing apart Essendon. 75 goals from 18 games, more goals against Essendon than any other club.
He likes the Bombers, I will say that.
He knows when he's driving to the ground that he's in for a bag if he's playing against Essendon. He trudges in on that left leg. He tugs it. A miss.
But even you just saw, Ryan, how they set up defensively the Swans. It allowed actually Paddy McCartan to be really proactive and go for his marks. You
can see him there. He's that free spare defender there. They've pressed the ground really well, made it small, hard for Essendon to get out of their back 50.
One behind each, 4 minutes gone at the SCG first quarter. Big leap from Francis. One by Heaney, slams it on the boot. So back inside attacking 50 for the Swans. It bounces off a leg to just outside 50. McInerney trapped it to himself, but it bounced to favour Mills. A kick to the square. And what is that? McDonald back there was going through for a goal. He wasn't sure about whether he should mark it or guide it through. In the end, he had a bob each way, bounced off his hands and threw for a rush behind, but it should have been a goal to Sydney.
It happens, mate. Trust me.
That doesn't happen.
It happens, Ryan.
It doesn't. Oh, that's the worst possible outcome. At least take the mark and go back and put it through.
Heppel with a dangerous switch, but it's good enough to find the chest of Kelly. He gives off a handball. Here's Reid running into trouble. Heaney there with him, just gets a handball away. Now Parker onto the loose footy for the Swans. Gives it off to Gordon. Good kick onto the chest of Franklin. He marks 40 out, wants to centre it right onto the chest of his teammate there, Wicks. 30 metres out, plumb in front. And Sammy Wicks will go back and kick for goal.
That's a real strength of Isaac Heaney's game. He can mark, he can hit the scoreboard. We know how amazing he is to watch, but people underestimate. He has 8 to 10 tackles a game. His defensive actions are super.
Another Swans Academy product. 35 metres out. He guides it home for the first of the night. Sydney draw first blood. At the 5.5 minute mark of this opening term on Grandstand AFL, they're 1-8. Essendon 1 behind. Ben Cameron alongside Daniel Garb, Ryan O'Keefe and Callum Sinclair.
Well, besides that brain explosion before McDonald.
You're harsh on him. You're harsh on him.
I'm not, mate. I would have been filthy if I was Callum Mills. Absolutely filthy.
Yeah.
There, you can see the Swans' intensity's on. They're pressuring. They're out there. They're up and about. And it's amazing when your intensity and your defensive pressure's up, your skill level's up, and they're actually hitting the targets doing that. So, I know it's early, and I don't want to make bold predictions, but you can just tell by the intensity they're attacking and the way they're moving. Their forwards are putting on heaps of pressure. That they're come to play today.
They're setting up well behind the ball as well.
But the Swans off 2 defeats in a row at home and a string of poor first quarter efforts. Draw first blood here at the SCG, and they get it going forward again. Inside 50, good pick up by Bell. Papley tried to read that handball off him, left it behind though. McGrath tries to clear. Bombers still under pressure though. Well done by Brian to knock it to himself. That allowed Cutler to get in on the action and just work it up to the wing. Here's McInerney though for Sydney. Handball back to Laddams. Snap forward by Mills to half forward. Rowbottom's there. The Bombers through. Ridley can collect, and now McGrath at half back.
McGrath just dumps it on the right boot, kicks forward of the wing, trying to find Martin, who takes a nice mark.
Great kick.
Martin pops it out in front of Merritt. Marks 52 metres out at left half forward for the Dons. Now wants to wheel around, try and get around the Lizard. Goes with a low bullet-like pass. It's a good one right onto the chest of Hobbs, who marks low down 40 metres out. Tighter than a 45-degree angle at left half forward.
Yeah, the Swans defend, they're setting up, obviously guarding dangerous space, but if there's not enough pressure on the ball, sometimes good kicking teams can kick through that sort of defence.
A draft slider in last year's draft. He's the only 18-year-old out there tonight. He starts this out to the right and he can't quite bring it back enough. It's through for a minor score. So 2 behinds to start for Essendon. Sydney 1-8. We've played 7.5 in the opening stanza.
Blakey brings it in, fresh off 25 disposals against Gold Coast last week to Florent. And the Swans try to go up the corridor, but the mark has been missed by Franklin. Here's Merritt. And now Laverde. Can the Bombers hurt them the other way? Cutler with a snap. It's going deep all the way to the square. It's spoiled away, picked up by Francis though, and he can slam it through from point-blank range for the first of the night for Essendon. Scores level here at the SCG. 1-8 apiece. Aaron Francis with the first for the Dons.
Pretty good from the Bombers there as defenders, pushing forward, trying to cut off that kick. They would know that the Swans like to come through the corridor, particularly when Nick Blake is kicking out, likes to put pace on the ball. Same with Ollie Florent as well. And when teams are going to play on outside of D50, it's important that Essendon are actually pressing the Swans, putting as much pressure on as possible. So well done to the Bombers.
Yeah, risk and reward when you go through there. And that was a bit of a risky kick. Like, you really got to hit that. It's just...
Well done for Keppel though. It's great cutting that off.
When you turn the ball like that, your defence has to then really scramble to get back hard, and just left a couple extra numbers of the Bombers. So even though they did well to get a fist on it, they just had the extra numbers to be able to kick the easy goal in the end.
Brian and Laddams both in the ruck. Laddams goes early. Brian stays down, slaps it down. There's a whistle. Free kick. It'll go the way of the Swans. It'll go to Mills. So Mills kicks inside, attacking 50 here for Sydney. Heaney! Oh, juggles down the mark beautifully, 47 metres out.
Hands are so strong, Isaac Heaney. just when you always think that he's out of position, but his hands are so good, he always just tends to find a way to either bring it to ground, but more times than not, they stick.
Having a career year, Isaac Heaney, possibly on track for his first All-Australian Blazer. They boot the ball from right on the arc of 50. It's not a bad-looking kick off the boot. He's bringing it back. He's just missing to the left-hand side. It's nicked the inside part of the goalpost on the way through. So razor thin there from Isaac Heaney. 139 the Swans, Essendon 128. 10 minutes travelled opening term.
Exciting, free-flowing start to this game at the SCG as Ridley goes to the pocket and finds Hines. Sends it up the wing now. That's a good mark there by Perkins. On the outer wing in a contest. The wraps on this kid are huge, and that's the reason why. Very strong overhead. Sends it to half forward. Well controlled by Francis. Just palmed it down to a teammate in Hobbs. Ball spills free, but favours Caldwell. Francis snaps it forward now, but there's been a free kick. It'll go the way of Essendon. It'll go to Hobbs, who, in disposing of that ball, was infringed upon. He's just outside attacking 50 for the Bombers.
He's quite a clever player, Francis. You know, he probably just needs to string a few good games together, and and that'll help his confidence. But he does do some crafty things.
Free kick was against Rampy. Just a bit over-aggressive in the tackle. So Hobbs pops it up to a dangerous position inside attack. Here's Parrish. Gathers it. Handballing by the Bombers is slick. But so is the tackling from the Swans, and they've managed to win it back, and now falls the way of Durham. He's wrapped up by Mills. We'll have a ball up at centre half forward for Essendon. It is 139 the Swans, Essendon 128, first term here at the SCG.
So ball up, attacking edge of the square for the Dons. Bryan trying to bring it down. Warner onto the footy for the Swans. Handball to Lloyd, puts him under pressure. It spills out to Merritt. Now Martin gets a handball away, coming through row bottom. He jams it on the boot, a spiral towards the wing. Bouncing ball, Laverty coming through. He can't quite gather it. Now gets some support. There's a free kick. It's going to come back. It'll go to Kelly in the end.
Tom Hickey playing a bit more of a forward role tonight, in conjunction with Peter Laddams doing the ruck duties.
In fact, Laverty's going to get the free kick. So just forward of the wing, outer side of the ground, the eastern side of the SCG. Sydney leading by a point. Laverty sets it up inside attacking 50, looking for right, brings it down to ground level, can't take the mark. Laddams trying to get through. Goulden does eventually, gives it off to Mills, who squeezes a kick out of the D50 for the Swans, and it tumbles out. We'll get a throw in right half forward for Essendon.
139 Sydney, 128 the Bombers. It's a tense first quarter. The intensity is certainly up. How do you see Hickey and Laddams playing together, Cal? It's an interesting one to juggle for John Longmire.
Yeah, I think so. I think, Hick probably hasn't played as much forward as he the last few years, but look, it's a thing to try. Pete's centre bounce work has been terrific.
Good tackle by Hayward on Martin, but the ball is spilled free and the Bombers have had a flying shot on goal. It's through for a behind. That's come from Nick Hind. Scores level here at the SCG, 139 apiece.
Swans are just going to be a bit mindful. They're letting a few Essendon players be a bit free. They're not quite close enough. And Essendon, we know they've got some speed and use the ball very aggressively. So they'll get caught out if they keep doing that.
Lloyd trying to find Hickey on a long lead. Can't do so. Laverty bobs up and marks for Essendon on the wing. Comes infield with a short kick to McGrath. Runs to the logo. High ball, a shallow inside 50 entry. Right caught behind. Has to spoil it down. It ricochets back to him. Gives it off to Parrish. Floats a kick towards full forward. Guelphy can't mark. Brings it to ground. Follows up at ground level. Quick snap on goal from Hobbs. And he's found the major opening. Hobbs has snapped it from 15 out. And Essendon take the lead with their second major of the evening. They're 2-3-15. Sydney 1-3-9. 13 minutes into this opening term.
That's another example of that. When the ball went into the forward line, there was 3 Essendon players, the 1 Swan that flew, and then they had 2 extra Bombers on the ground level. They get a quick kick because just weight of numbers winning it.
Yeah.
And then Guelphy was free to be able to make that contest where the Swans defender wasn't on. It's just like they're just off. And what's happening with the Swans now, they're turning the ball over. So all of a sudden, Essendon are counter-punching, and they've got free players. So the Swans defenders having to scramble all the time. And Essendon, they're a team that lower their eyes. They're not going to just bomb it and blaze it into their forward line, where if you're a zoning defence, you can come off, roll off, take intercept marks. They've got to tighten up the Swans.
Bombers lead by a goal here. First term at the SCG. Palmed down by Hickey. Won by Dylan Shield into the ground. Here's Nick Martin, the impressive rookie. Left it behind, so Shield went in to get it. Wrapped up by Mills. And now Parker manages to win the ball free. Slams it inside 50. McDonald tries to get hands on it. He's wrapped up well by Zach Reed. And now Laverde couldn't quite get clearance with his kick. Ball still in dispute inside defensive 50 for the Bombers. That looked like a throw from Ridley. I think he got away with that one. And now there's a free kick to Essendon. We'll go the way of Mason Redmond at left half back. I'm not sure of the way in which Ridley disposed of that one. A lucky break for Essendon. They lead by a goal.
So Redmond wants to switch it. Does so right across towards the young man, Zach Reed, who moves it on quickly forward of the wing. A good kick. And the mark taken there for Essendon by Kelly, who wants to go long towards half forward. And a good spoil coming across. Paddy McCartan able to fist it out of play and a throw in just inside the attacking 50 at right half forward for Essendon.
Just on your previous point, Ryan, I think one thing I've been impressed with has been the Bombers, a bit undersized up forward, but in aerially, they're actually just bringing it to ground and putting the defence under a fair bit of pressure.
Boundary throw in inside 50 for the Bombers. Here's Warner, half back for Sydney, wins it. Sweeping handball to Blakey, and now they've got men free. It's Papley for Sydney. Goes inside 50 now, looking for McDonald. Wrestles with his man Laverde. He's allowed to play on. Handball to Bell. He can snap on goal, and he can get Sydney second. The fast break from the Swans was effective. And scores a level now, 2-3-15 apiece here in the first quarter at the SCG. And James Bell into the team as his first for the night.
Well, he's been quite busy, James Bell. You can see he's playing for his spot. So his work rate's been fantastic, both obviously then attacking to get there and provide that outlet for McDonald to be able to give the hands to, but also defensively. So he's started the game off really well. And that is some good ball movement by the Swans and very attacking. And if they're not turning it over, it's good. So that part of the game for the Swans, they're looking really dangerous. Just for me, is on the defensive side of the ball. Can they stop the Bombers' movement? If this game goes into a shootout, you back the Bombers, because that's how they want to play. Swans don't want to play shootout footy, but Bombers do. So there's something, or part of the way the games get played at the moment. The Swans just need to be able to control the tempo and Essendon have the ball.
At least following the script, recent matches between these two teams have been close as Kennedy gets out a handball to Rowbottom. He snaps out towards the eastern wing. Goulden going after it. Gathers on the bounce. Runs back towards neutral territory and turns it straight over. And the mark taken there by Caldwell. We'll head down to Soph on the boundary in a moment as Caldwell drives it inside 50 for Essendon. Tom McCartan drops the mark. Wright follows up with a handball to Hobbs. Goes through the legs of Merritt. Now Kennedy mops up for the Swans to McInerney to Warner. Might have thrown it away. He did. Holding the ball. And a free kick is going to go to Merritt just forward of the logo for Essendon. Scores level.
Merritt just pops it up into attack, deep into attack for Essendon. Peter Wright's there off his hands. You can see he's playing with confidence at the moment. Well picked up by Heaney. Now big Tom Hickey on the last line of defence. Did well there. Composure. Found Errol Goulden free in the back pocket. Now the Swans have got some numbers on the outer side. Logan McDonald in a long lead marks it on the wing. He has a man on offer for him. That's Papley. Just works it up 20 metres to find him. In line with the logos now. And now the Bombers have managed to get numbers back in defence. So Papley goes short and finds Nick Blakey. Has Goulden running around him. And just chips it up to him. Now, quick word from Sophie Clappin on the boundary. Soph?
Yeah, guys, James Bell just zipped down to the rooms. He came off after kicking that last major. I think he came off with a bit of a blood rule, had a cut over his right eyebrow. Hopefully nothing too serious and just being patched up by the doctor.
Sydney switching it, thanks Soph. Across towards the broadcast wing. Tom to Paddy. The McCartan brothers combining. He chips it over the top. And McInerney takes the mark. So the Macs all working together. Now McInerney stabs it short to Heaney, just forward of the wing. Heaney looks into the pocket. Here's the Budwa leading at it. Laverde gets a fist in. Rowbottom at the fall of the ball. Quick chain of hand passes. Kennedy centering ball. Warner picks it up. Tries to backfeed a handball. Misses the target. Then a mop up. Hayward gives it off to Florent, who spots up in the pocket Hickey beautifully. He marks 20 metres out, deep in the right forward pocket, Tom Hickey.
Geez, they made hard work of that, the Swans. They had an opportunity over the far side to just take some easy shots or easy targets just to chip it along the ground, along the boundary line. But Papley held it up, and then just forced into this chip game, and then just making it a lot harder than potentially it could have been.
Tom Hickey's covered just about every corner of the country in his footballing journey. Maybe making this the best stop. He slots it home from the pocket, and Sydney take back the lead. They're 3-3-21, Essendon 2-3-15. We've played 19 and a half minutes opening term. Grandstand AFL, Daniel Garb, myself, Ben Cameron, Ryan O'Keefe and Cal Sinclair.
I don't think the Bombers would be too happy with that, with the Swans' ease of just flicking around there inside their own forward 50. Had plenty of opportunities to try and turn that footy over, let's be honest, but terrific finish by Tom. And pretty even contest, I would say. I'd say probably, the keys from the Swans are doing quite well. They're having influence in the game, but I think it's their ground level work and Essendon is the reason they're scoring, particularly inside 50.
It's whatever team's controlling the ball that seems to be scoring. Like both teams' sort of full ground defence isn't super tight, but it just seems who's got ball in hand, who's controlling is scoring. So it's not really a contested game. Not many stoppages. So it just ends up who's got ball in hand and control it, not turn it over.
Sydney by a goal here. Close to time on in the first quarter at the SCG. Bombers win the clearance through Parrish. To left half forward, and he finds Nick Martin. Running back with a flight, watched it well. He's got a man on inside 50. He juggles it and takes it one-handed. That's Tom Cutler, but he'll kick from the juncture of the boundary line and the 50. Plays on quickly now to open up a bit of space. To the top of the square he goes. Big leap at the back. Couldn't take the mark, was Aaron Francis. And now a free kick's been given away by big Sammy Draper. And the Swans will be able to relieve matters through Dane Rampy on the last line of defence, just in front of the goal line.
Dane Rampy runs into the left back pocket, kicks as long as he can towards the wing. Bringing it down high, and Hickey playing the role of the Rover, sweeps a handball away to Goulden. And on that left leg, kicks as long as he can. Hapley's out in a little bit of space. He marks, he has men breaking inside 50. Tries to spot up Hayward and finds his chest. 45 metres out, just ever so slightly left of centre.
That's better. Go forward. Go direct. That was a long direct to 2v1 and then turn in, move the ball quickly. Not giving Essendon time to get back and plug up the space.
And they seem to be spreading the goal kickers, the Swans. They're finding really good shot selection. You saw Buddy hit up Sam Wicks there inside 50. You saw Logan McDonald give one to James Bell. And now you've got Tom Papley giving up to Will Hayward. Who do you defend?
Hayward, a short approach. Lays boot to ball from 47. And flushes it through the middle. Sydney have got the last three. They lead by 2 goals neat. They're 4-3-27. Essendon 2-3-15. 22 and a half travelled. Opening term Grandstand AFL round 9 at the Sydney Cricket Ground. Ryan O'Keefe, Cal Sinclair.
To your point there, Cal, I reckon that's a really good sign of a good operating a team's attack. Like we talk about team attack, team defence. I think days of needing one player to kick a bag every week are well and truly gone. You need a really good mix and spread. So if one does get locked down, someone bobs up and then multiple bobs up. You need your midfielders kicking goals to be able to kick good scores. So I think that's positive signs for a Swans functional forward line.
Yep. And I think that's probably where, just looking at the matchups now, they're probably just down a couple of goal kickers, Essendon. They're probably relying a little bit on Peter, who's actually creating a good contest, but they'll need to kick a few. 23
minutes gone in the first quarter. Swans by 2 goals. Here's Dylan Shield, wins the clearance. Parrish now on the left, sends the Bombers into attack, and Guelphy's marked it. Inside 50 yards to push in the back.
Oh, a bit stiff there, I reckon.
Push in the back on Jake Lloyd. So now the Swans can rebound from 50. Mills, handball to Lloyd, gives it back to him, and now has Buddy on a long lead. He's marked it just outside 50. Franklin pokes it into attack, and he's got a man free. That is Tom Papley, who was sprinting away from his opponent, who was Jake Kelly, and Papley will kick from 45 metres out, probably bang on a 45-degree angle.
It's a real turnover game. If you turn the ball over, and the opposition can go back and hurt you with some interest there. The Swans have just seemed to settle a little bit better in their ball movement at the moment. Essendon made just a couple of turnovers, and if you turn over off half-back, that's very dangerous.
But Tom Papley, with only the 1 goal in his 2 games since returning from injury, he's just pulled this a little bit, and it's through Foray behind. So it's a 13-point lead to the Swans late in the first quarter. It looks like they're going to win a first quarter, which John Longmire no doubt would have demanded during the week.
They don't look too bad, Essendon coming out of centre bounce, but I think they're probably just lacking some presence at around centre-half forward to actually try and either bring that ball to ground or just stop the intercepts.
Redmond with the kick into the pocket, marked by Reid, one of those 3 top 10 draft picks from a couple of years ago for Essendon, all out of contract at the end of this year as Reid kicks to the wing. No mark taken there, dropped off the chest of Tom McCartan, and eventually out of play will get a throw in. Be thinking pretty soon they'd be fairly keen to get Perkins, Cox and Zach Reid all locked up.
Yeah.
8, 9 and 10 from that draft.
Exactly right. The list manager, we want to get their pen ready.
What are you doing, Adrian? From the throw-in, slap back down boundary side, back towards the line, will go again.
I think Cox actually hurt himself pretty bad in the VFL today. His ankle.
Oh, wow.
Jeez. Call me Doc Larkins.
Look out.
You're on the ground.
On the money there, mate.
I haven't seen X-rays.
Boundary throw in on the wing. Here's Heaney, tries to get his hands free, does so to Parker. Parker is row bottom wider. He now kicks to half forward. Franklin's there, looks for body contact to shake off his opponent. Couldn't mark. There's Wicks and Papley trying to get hands on it. It's over for a boundary throw in just outside attacking 50 for the Swans. They lead by 13 points. Ben Hobbs, another one of their youngsters who's so impressive in his first season, picked 13 from last year, has a goal tonight and 6 disposals coming off 19 last week. Benny Cameron. So Ben Hobbs is starting to get into his groove now in the AFL.
Yeah, the only teenager out there tonight is Laddams. Takes it out of the ruck, knocks it away towards Mills, who slaps it away to Heaney, goes back to Mills, kicks long inside attacking 50 for Sydney. Good mark, floating in from the side. Jake Kelly possibly having a career year as well here for Essendon. Gives it off to Heppel in his milestone game on his birthday, moves it across to Reid, and Essendon, they exit their D50 to right half back.
It's with Nick Hind, who they like to use to give them some run out of defence, but the Swans have numbers back, so he just sends it up the wing. Coming across is McInerney to affect that contest. Francis kept his feet though, tried to slap it towards Hobbs. He takes it over for a boundary throw in on the outer side. We're approaching quarter time. Sydney leading by 13 points, coming off 2 losses in a row, of course, here at the SCG. If they want to be a top 4 side, they need to make amends tonight. They're off to a good start.
Umpire spins it back in. Laddams and Draper. Draper hooks it to the back, trying to pick it up Redmond. He can't momentarily. Eventually Kennedy does for the Swans, gives it off to Parker. Squeezes a kick towards the logo. Laddams has to bend over and pick it up. Eventually shovels out a handball to Wicks. He backfeeds one to Mills. Has time. Handball back to Wicks. Now Wicks will kick Sydney towards half forward. Coming out Franklin, he juggles it and he completes it right on the arc of 50. Right where the digits are. And Big Budwa just turns his back and struts away from the big sticks. And he'll go back and kick for them.
What Sydney have done really well now, they've controlled Essendon's ball movement tempo. They've slowed it down and forced Essendon to kick to a contest, which they don't like. And it's forcing... Well,
he wants to go short and finds Laddams, who somehow... at 200 centimetres tall, has bobbed up out of a sprinkler and taken the mark with no Essendon players around him.
Well, he's not inconspicuous. He's not like a set of car keys, is he? Hey, and that just typifies sort of the lack of defensive sort of mindset Essendon have. Very attacking, defensive side of the game is something. Considering their coach was a Dowd defender, it's lacking a bit.
Interesting, Sydney tonight going with the dual rucks, one of which is Big Pete, who dumps it on his left leg and misses right. So Sydney 4-5-29, Essendon 2-3-15. We're about a minute away from quarter time.
A concerning sight there for the Bombers was as Buddy was lining up, a lot of players had some hands on their knees waiting for him to kick, and he just spotted up Peter Laddams inside 50. Doesn't make him pay though, as Essendon sends it out to left half back, and the long lead is Peter Wright off his hands and out for a boundary throw in. Just the 2 handballs for Peter Wright tonight. Hasn't had a shot on goal just yet. Of course, having such an impressive season, 2 metre Peter with 23 goals for the campaign, well and truly in the Coleman medal race. 14-point lead to the Swans as the boundary throw-in comes in. Here's Durham trying to get hands on it. Running away now is Nick Hind, as he likes to do off half-back, but he runs into a dead end, so turns around and handballs back to Dylan Shield. He's in some trouble, though. Almost pulled down. Handball spills free to Hind. He goes into attack. Leap from the back was from Aaron Francis. Again, kept his feet well. Good tackle by him on Errol Goulden, and now the Swans can rebound.
They're trying to through hands. Florent gets the handball away to McInerney. Clever little kick through the middle of the ground. It should sit for Parker. Coming the other way though, Reid. Water onto the footy. Sweeps the handball to Wicks. Runs to 30 out. Steadies from 20 and dribbles it home. Wicks has got a couple. And he just beats out the quarter time siren. That hurts if you're Essendon. It makes it the highest scoring first term of the year for Sydney at 5-5-35. Essendon 2-3-15. A lead of 20 points at the first break here on Grandstand AFL. So the goal kickers, Wicks, the man who kicked that goal right on the quarter time siren with a couple, Bell, Hickey and Hayward. And then for Essendon, Francis and Hobbs were their two individual goal kickers. It is Saturday night football from the SCG. A glorious night in Sydney, but at quarter time, it is Sydney leading by 20 points over the Dons. This is Grandstand AFL.
The election. It's easy to get lost amongst the polls, policies and pledges. If only there was a way you could make more sense of it. Bridget Brennan from ABC News has an election hack, a way to find out how your views compare to the major parties.
Go online to Vote Compass, answer a few quick questions. You may be surprised where you stand on the political spectrum.
Vote Compass, exclusive to the ABC.
Go to abc.net.au/Australia Votes.
The 2022 AFL Premiership season. Grandstand AFL.
On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Gives it off to Goulden. Good kick onto the chest of Franklin. He marks 40 out, wants to centre it right onto the chest of his teammate there, Wicks. 30 metres out, plumb in front. And Sammy Wicks will go back and kick for goal. Another Swans Academy product. 35 metres out. He guides it home for the first of the night. Sydney draw first blood.
Spoiled away, picked up by Francis though, and he can slam it through from point blank range for the first of the night for Essendon. Scores level here at the SCG.
Floats a kick towards full forward. Guelphy can't mark, brings it to ground, follows up at ground level. Quick snap on goal from Hobbs, and he's found the major opening. Hobbs has snapped it from 15 out, and Essendon take the lead with their second major of the evening.
It's Papley for Sydney. Goes inside 50 now, looking for McDonald. Wrestles with his man Laverde. He's allowed to play on. Handball to Bell. He can snap on goal, and he can get Sydney second. The fast break from the Swans was effective.
Papley's out in a little bit of space. He marks his men breaking inside 50. Tries to spot up Hayward and finds his chest. 45 metres out, just ever so slightly left of centre. Hayward, a short approach, lays boot to ball from 47 and flushes it through the middle. Sydney have got the last three.
This is the 2022 AFL Premiership season.
On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
And they had the last four of the opening quarter to lead by 20 points at the first break. There is another game going on at the moment in the AFL. Some of the results from earlier as well, I should mention, but currently late in the first quarter, it's Brisbane 4-1-25 leading Adelaide 1-1-7 in that fixture. Earlier today, St Kilda won by 10 points over Geelong, and Port Adelaide thumped North Melbourne predictably by 69. Here at the SCG, Callum Sinclair and Ryan O'Keefe have been watching on. What did we witness in that opening term, gents?
Yeah, look, I think we were sitting here, Ryan, the first 10 minutes, actually, pretty impressed with Essendon's intent, getting the ball deep inside 50, causing a few headaches for the defenders. But as we sit here at quarter time, the tides really changed. Clearances 11-4 to the Swans, centre clearances 5-2 to the Swans, stoppage clearances 6-2 to the Swans. So they're getting beaten up around the ball, but as I've touched on before, I think the real worry for Essendon probably at the moment is just probably their defence a little bit. You see the amount of spread of goal kickers that the Swans have kind of got. They're finding uncontested marks inside 50. It's a little bit concerning. Great for the Swans, you know. They're working up the ground really high and working back to find their forwards in great positions. But for Essendon, probably just one. They're getting beaten up around the footy a little bit, and they just need to tighten up defensively.
Yeah, look, it's a real turnover game, and as I sort of mentioned during that quarter, was that Tuiva is controlling the ball, and both defences and Essendon's defence, I'm talking not just the defenders, their defence in entirety is so poor. Like, you look at it, and Garb, you mentioned like that they were standing in the 50 when Franklin was having a shot, hands on hit, like totally disinterested, not switched on. But if when the Swans don't turn over the ball, they're fine. They're going forward and they're scoring. And the Swans had a couple of poor turnovers that caused, like Errol Goulden chipped one in, and Chad Warner got that resulted in scores. So if the Swans can control the ball and use the ball really well, Essendon won't get it off them, and they'll score. But if it gets into a shootout and Swans pull the trigger and cause a few turnovers, Essendon will go back and score, and Essendon want a shootout. But I think it's just who can control the ball. It's not a real contest, bash them, stoppage, grunted out sort of game. So it's going to be the team that can hold on to the ball, have time in possession, and score off the back of any turnovers. That's how I sort of see it playing out.
Daniel Garb, some of the numbers up to quarter time. What's jumping off the page?
Well, we've spoken of the need for Sydney to get off to a good start in this game after struggling in first quarters all season long. The co-captain in Callum Mills, who has really set the tone for the Swans all season, has certainly ensured that they have gone out to a 20-point lead in this first quarter. 9 disposals, 3 inside 50s, 3 clearances, a couple of tackles. He has had a quarter, most certainly, Callum Mills, continuing his excellent season. Nick Blakey, 6 touches, Errol Goulden with 6, Luke Parker with 6 and 3 clearances as well. For the Bombers, Hobbs has 6, Ridley and Laverde as well. But a couple of prime movers perhaps down in that first quarter. Merritt, McGrath, Shield, all with 4 disposals only to their name.
Interesting, Callum Mills with those 9 disposals in this opening term. 3 Brownlow votes with 33 and 1 the last time these two teams met. So, likes playing against Essendon.
There's a lot of Swans that like playing against Essendon there.
Back in the middle, Draper and Laddams to get this second term started. Warner gets the clearance, tumbles it towards half forward. Bouncing ball, Bell's there, Redmond too. Getting involved, Heaney. He loses it in the tackle. Parrish. Handball away to Caldwell for Essendon. Handball out in front there of Cutler, who paddles it to the boundary line. And we'll get a throw in on the eastern side of the ground. Saturday night footy at the SCG on Grandstand AFL. No score added in the opening 30 seconds of this second term. Sydney by 20 points.
Interesting, the man that tapped it over the boundary line, Tom Cutler, had a long conversation with Ben Rutten at the quarter-time break. It got a little bit animated at times. Here's Errol Goulden, wins the ball free from that boundary, throw-in for the Swans towards half-forward. Buddy controls it to himself, steadies, a low ball at goal. You'd expect him to kick that. He was from 45 metres out, but he had lots of time. He's just missed to the near side. The behind to the Swans. They are 5-6-36. Essendon 2-3-15. It's all Sydney early on in the second quarter here at the SCG.
So Ridley with the kick-in duties. Ambles to the pocket and then kicks high and long towards the wing. Right, brings it down. There's Cutler, the man we were just speaking of. Caldwell gets involved. He's wrapped up strongly by Parker. Can't get a kick away. Warner eventually picks it up. Handball to Lloyd. Handball to Tom McCartan. His kick a turnover. And the mark taken for Essendon by Parrish. So Parrish just backward of the wing. Broadcast side of the ground. Sets up a high ball right in good position. Goes up in front off hands. It comes down for Guelphy, who dribbles a kick towards half forward. McInerney attacks it for the Swans.
Now Warner has it. Just darts around a couple of would-be tacklers. Does that so well, Chad Warner. His handball missed Mills, but he had time to go back and gather it. Handball back to Warner, but he's got 4 Bombers around him. Does well to get his arms free. Turns it over to Cutler, though. It's at half forward for Essendon. Now Parrish with another disposal. Looks for Draper. He comes in with a heavy hit. In fact, I think he's knocked out a Swan here. It's Nick Blakey who's on the ground. Play allowed to go on. Handball from Guelphy to right, who tries to centre it with a low ball. Falls now in attack to Martin. Will have a free kick just in front of the goal square. In fact, it's a ball up, but the concerns here are with Nick Blakey, who copped a very heavy hit by Sam Draper. Good news is he's back to his feet, and the medical staff have let him go back to the play.
So ball up, top of the attacking goal square here for Essendon. Going after it, Rampy. He's able to gather it, gives it away to Lloyd. Tiptoes the boundary line and then kicks around it towards halfback for Sydney. And Logan McDonald juggles a nice mark. And the young key forward working up the ground. He marks it right halfback for the Swans.
Might have just taken the wind out of Blakey there, but he hasn't gone off, because if you go off, you have to go do the head check, don't you?
So now Parker kicks around the eastern wing for the Swans. Franklin onto the footy, sidesteps an opponent, runs to 49, chips it into the pocket, bouncing ball out in front of Papley. He turns around and gives him a little bit of feedback, thinking it could have been a handball.
It should have been earlier. He was on earlier all by himself, and then he sort of did nothing. It wasn't a pass, it wasn't a shot. At least go back, pin the ears back and put it through.
No, I think he's playing a pretty selfless game. He's given a few off tonight.
Sydney by 21.
Here's Draper. And now Warner. So the Swans are back inside 50. Wicks had his handball blocked. Now it spills free to Franklin. Can he have another shot at goal? Just bounces it to himself, basketball style. Can't collect it. Juggles it 3 or 4 times. Perhaps that put him off because his kick was wide of Laddams in the pocket. We'll have a boundary throw in inside 50 for Sydney, but unusual to see Buddy fail to control the ball in that manner.
Feels like he's feeling it tonight. He's just not quite doing it just yet.
7 disposals and a couple of behinds for Buddy Franklin.
Umpire spins it back in. Inside forward 50 here for the Swans. Latham lays it down. Hacked out of there by Cutler towards the wing. Bouncing ball. Coming up. Trying to take it. Perkins. He's stripped of it in the tackle. Holding the ball. The Lizard got him. So now he kicks wide. Blakey out towards Warner, who gives off the handball to Parker. 55 out. He sets it up to the pocket in the McDonald direction. Hands to it. Doesn't take the mark. There, Hind, close to the boundary line for Essendon. He'll kick beyond defensive 50.
Bidwell pokes it out to a man in Nick Martin, though, but he's done so out of bounds on the full. So he was flirting with the boundary line and he has exceeded it. So the Swans win it back and they've managed to find Goulden at right half forward. He finds a man inside 50 and Wicks. Drop one he should have taken. Gathers it back, though. Now with Franklin, who's ever so busy, centres it beautifully to Papley at centre half forward. And he will kick from 50 metres out directly in front. Buddy spotting up another teammate inside attacking 50.
Jeez, Wicks, I don't know, was expecting the ball to come that nicely to him. That was a beautiful pass by Goulden.
He was able to gather it again, though. Wicks handballed it to Franklin, and he showed a lot of composure, as he always does, to hit up Papley. So, as we said before, just the one goal since returning to AFL football, the 2021 All-Australian in Tom Papley. Strikes us from a long way out. And looking for extra distance, he's pulled it to the left. A second behind for him for the night. Sydney out to a 22-point lead. 5-7-37. The Bombers 2-3-15.
Ridley quickly to the pocket to Heppel, who now has to feed a handball back to Ridley, who off a step kicks long and high to a contest. Right launching at the footy. Right there with him, Tom McCartan spoils it down. Onto the footy, Kennedy for the Swans. Handball to Merritt, though, for the Dons. He kicks back around the wing. Attacking it well, Florent. Wins the footy. He's bumped as he kicks, though. It'll go out of bounds on the full. And Essendon to get it back. Zach Reid to have the kick. Right half back. Sydney leading by 22 points, waiting for our opening goal of this second term. Early stages, 6 minutes in.
Florent's playing a half-back role tonight, is he?
Yeah, he has. He's been going down there probably the last couple of weeks, particularly in the absence of Harry Cunningham.
Offhand, so it's that left half back for the Swans. Here is Florent, the man that you speak of, runs away from his opponent, chips it over the top to find Chad Warner, who's been really busy, up to disposal number 12 now. Goes to centre half forward and has Heaney on the lead. He plays on quickly, has a man free in the pocket. That is Tom Papley. He'll kick from 40 metres out on an angle, and Sydney are finding men at ease inside attack at the moment.
Yeah, I think Ollie Florent's gone in defence, probably of the Braden Campbell out with shin soreness, and also Harry Cunningham out the last couple of weeks with some groin problems. Touched on Buddy Franklin before, obviously not hitting the scoreboard, but what he is doing is actually bringing his small forwards into the game. With those guys getting shots on goal, very dangerous.
The Tom Papley from just inside 50, a couple of behind so far for the night. Is this third time lucky? No, it's not. Again across the face, so 3 behinds for Tom Papley. That would frustrate him, no end, no doubt. But his team is doing it as they please at the moment here at the SCG. The Swans lead the Bombers by 23 points. Here's Ben Cameron on Grandstand AFL.
Just with Papley before, sorry Ben, just seems that he's struggling for distance and trying a little bit too hard. You can tell he's just off and doesn't have timing in his kick. His stance, his technique doesn't look fluid.
Oh, Buddy He takes the mark from behind as McInerney sends it back inside 50. Buddy wants to play on, wheels around on the left and holds up the right arm to celebrate. He loves playing against Essendon, and he's on the board tonight. Sydney have kicked the last 5. They're 6-8-44. Essendon 2-3-15. We've played 7 minutes in their second term on Grandstand AFL.
That's how you do it. Go back yourself in, and just be really confident in it.
Just defensively from the Swans, you see Essendon, like they seem to be getting their hands on the ball a little bit. You know, they're finding it in their back half, but just how the Swans are just set up defensively, they just can't move the footy at the moment. They're probably just, we spoke about it, Ryan, it just seems like they might be just lacking a couple extra keys that might be good down there just to help out Peter Wright a little bit. You know, he's probably flying for his marks, a 3-on-1. But I think they're just struggling to move the footy out of the back half.
Well, it's probably, I don't know whether it's chicken and egg, but they don't like to kick to a contest. And
yes,
whether that's a personnel thing, they don't have a big key to kick to, but they've got to take the game on. They've got to play their style, which is take advantage, go fast.
Swans by 29 points. Bombers need to win the footy back, but Merritt has dropped it. He's copped one high, though, from Rowbottom. That had to be a free kick. He's still on the ground, Zach Merritt. He's holding the ball now. It'll go the way of Rowbottom. Shield was caught with it. Bombers fans would be filthy at their team at the moment. They were getting trounced, but
I think that was fair. I think that was fair game, Gov. They both went forward and just clashed. Merritt does have a tendency to go to ground a bit.
Looked like he had his head down, Zach Merritt, for mine, but I'll take your more learned opinion. Here's Redmond turning around 360 in the back pocket. Fine Shield. He goes central now to Parrish. Still at centre half back for the Bombers. They need to just get control of the footy here at the SCG. This has the potential to get ugly. Sydney by 29 points. Parrish out to the outer wing. Off hands. Shield was at the front of that contest. Picks it up now. Looks for Guelphy. Has him. He's wrapped up by Callum Mills. Ball spills free to Parrish, though, but Guelphy was caught holding the ball. Strong tackle by Mills, who is having an excellent game of footy. That's his 4th tackle for the night.
And someone like Shields there, double handling, fumbling. He's usually a clean player, so he's just not up to the standard he's usually at.
Mills goes long inside 50. Buddy a couple of bites, doesn't mark, and then Parrish is there to mop up as he kicks long towards the wing. Over the head of his target there in Durham, and eventually getting involved is Kennedy. A little 1-2 with Florent. Now he comes back inside. Beautiful kick right onto the chest of Rowbottom. So 60 metres out from the Swans' goal. Momentum wearing red and white. Rowbottom sets it up towards full forward. Flying his Hickey, through his hands, out the back it goes. Redmond onto the footy, gets a handball away. Heaney trying to steal it. He can only knock it out. And we'll get a throw in right forward pocket for the Swans. They lead by 29 points elsewhere. Brisbane lead by 18 at quarter time against the Adelaide Crows.
Just in the replay of Rowbottom on Merritt. That had to be a free kick for high, surely. Boundary throw and inside attack for the Swans. Here's Heaney. Back to Goulden. He can snap it high into attack. Here's Frankton at the front of that pack. Laverde gathers it. Mills wraps up Hobbs. Got the hands free. Sydney trying to win it back inside 50. Now McGrath just pokes it clear of defence for the Bombers. But McInerney's first back there. Handball to Paddy McCartan. And he goes to half forward and finds Errol Goulden, who marks just inside the boundary line. In fact, he doesn't. It's out of bounds on the full. Bombers will have it left half back.
So Sydney by 29 points, 11 minutes and change into the second. Guelphy with that peroxide blonde hair will take the kick. Kicks around the eastern wing. Nice mark by Tom McCartan. There was a little shove on Paddy as well, but...
Might have been Tom.
Yeah. You've had too many marks. Paddy, get out of the way.
If one of them doesn't get you, the other will. He goes back inside the defensive 50 for the Swans, and Rampy, all things remaining equal, will play game 200 next week. He kicks back around the eastern wing. Straight to Ridley, who drops the mark. Now Guelphy comes in to mop up. Handball, a turnover. Bell gets it away to Rowbottom. The Swans at half forward. Hayward runs to 45. Looks at the sticks and misses.
Oh, he had 3 options free.
He'd take that shot, Ryan, surely.
Oh, he got to hit it, though.
Running his open goal.
Took the 4th of the 3 options and missed, unfortunately.
Live and die by the sword, Carl.
30 points is the lead for the Swans.
And they're doing it easily. Here's Ridley at half-back for Essendon. He has a man free at half forward. That is Francis, who jumps up nicely and marks that, and will look to play on now. Guelfi's in the pocket. That's where the ball's going. Peter Wright wins front position against his opponent in Tom McCartan. McInerney's there. He's wrapped up nicely, though, by Perkins. Inside attack for Essendon. We'll have a boundary throw in. Bombers trailing by 30 points, and every time Sydney have gone forward, they've had plenty of men free. They've done it with ease. Can the Bombers strike back here? Boundary throw in, inside attack for them.
So Bryan and Laddams, what can they muster Essendon? They lock up the pair of them. Laddams brings it down. It bounces back to him. Tries to get it on the boot. Guelfi fighting after the football. Parrish goes in. Mills right there with him. Merritt trying to reach in. He can't extract it. And we'll get a ball up 30 metres out from the attacking goal for the Dons.
They get their hands on the Bombers. They've got a few free players there.
Bryan swats it down to Shield, cruising through. He fumbles it, then back feeds a handball to Parrish, to Heppel. Handball back to Parrish, now outside their attacking 50. Sweeps a handball to Ridley. Ridley likes his chances from 51. It's going to go across the face. And a behind. 2-4-16 Essendon. Sydney 6-9-45, 13 and a half travelled in the second.
Yeah, they had a few spare players. The Swans weren't manning up there. So as soon as they got their hands on it, they'll flick it around and have a shot. Very dangerous if you're going to leave 3 players at a forward 50 stoppage.
Darcy Parish having a big quarter. He's up to 15 disposals now for the Bombers, the most of anyone on the ground, as Blakey plays on from the kick-in. James Bell didn't mark it, but did well to control it. Florent and now Warner and Mills, a lot of time at half-back, the Swans, and they can switch it to a man free on the outer wing in Errol Goulden. They did that with ease inside their own defensive 50, didn't they? Goulden, that's a dangerous quick kick, and Guelfi can intercept. Now Essendon just grubber one into attack. Back there, though, is Tom McCartan. Has time to hit up a Sydney Swan teammate in Laddams. Laddams pokes it into the middle of the SCG for Rowbottom. Has Warner running off him. Gets around an opponent. Has a bounce from just outside 50. Chad Warner. Brufere behind, missing just. Margin back out to 30 points. Sydney now 6-10-46. Essendon 2-4-16.
He has such good change direction, Chad Warner. You know what I mean? Like when he gets it on that pace, just to turn on a dime, God, it's hard to catch.
Here's Redmond kicking in towards the eastern wing. Going up, Martin can't quite take the mark. Close to the boundary line, he's tackled and eventually out. And there's the mature age pick for Essendon by way of Subiaco in the WAFL. It's a good path.
Absolutely.
Mature age kick from Subi.
Absolutely, Ben.
There's a couple of Perth guys talking, isn't it?
I was thinking of Matt Prittis, but Dale Sinclair nominating himself.
Free kick into the Bombers, and they can play on. It's Parrish again. Goes to half forward. Over the head, though, of the teammate he wanted in Perkins. So the Swans can mop up and half back. Kennedy, they're happy to go through the corridor, Sydney. Florent, handball's back now, though, to Paddy McCartan. Just pokes it out to Papley on the wing. Getting into the game now, Tommy Papley. A couple of quiet weeks since returning. He's up to 8 disposals. Gives it back to Josh Kennedy, 3-time best and fairest winner, 3-time All-Australian. Plays on now, the veteran. Sends a high ball into attack for the Swans. Franklin's there, through his hands. Hickey at the back, the biggest rover in the game at the moment, to Papley. Now a snap-on goal from Goulden. He loves these, and he's bent it round for a major.
Wow.
Errol Goulden with his first of the night, and whenever he's shaping up and he's left in that situation, you can just about mark it down. Margin out to 36 points now in favour of the Swans.
He is certainly elite. His foot skills are arguably, in my opinion, the best I've ever seen for a first and second year player. Just his finishing skills, though, he literally come in at AFL level and has literally fitted in perfectly and has had no real drama, particularly in front of goal. Question for you, Ryan, though, I want to ask is, what have you seen from the forwards of Essendon? I've just seen them probably just get caught out of shape a fair bit because the Swans just seem to be outnumbering them defensively. So is that a structural problem, or they're just getting stuck to the...
Yeah. To your Errol Goulden part, he's had 3 absolutely stinking turnovers this year. I think, and the danger is he is a beautiful kick, and sometimes they get a bit, I'm a good kick and I can pin something, I can go through the car door window, you know what I mean? So it's just because they're getting high and out of shape because the ball's not getting there, so they're getting a bit desperate.
Here is Essendon out of the middle through Shield, wants to kick wide out towards Cutler, has to try and gather on the bounce, and he can't.
I will take your point, Ryan. He has had a couple of ordinary ones tonight.
So the
in
other
front of goal, though.
in front of goal. To your the Essendon forward line, because the Swans are doing really well and playing the game in their half, the Bombers forwards are going, oh, we need to kick, and they're coming up. And once they do get through, they're out of shape.
They've got it now through Nick Martin. Handball's back to Redmond. Bell closed on him, but he got his kick away into attack over the head of Perkins. Lloyd is his opponent. Perkins wraps him up, so we'll have a ball up inside 50 for Essendon, who trailed 36 points. In fact, Lloyd's been caught holding the ball. It looked like it would be a ball up. He dived on it, according to the umpire. So well done to young Archie Perkins. He's won a free kick inside 50. He'll kick from about 42 metres out on a very slight angle.
Oh, that's just... I just disagree with that. How that
was he swearing at the umpire?
No. Look, he's playing the ball. He's tried to get it like that's just ball up. Like, seriously,
that was a bit hot.
It's unlucky.
Well done by Archie Perkins though, with a strong tackle. 9 goals for the season. Pick 9 from the 2020 draft. Archie Perkins strikes this nicely, and he's got an important major for the Bombers. Their third of the night. They are 3-4-22. It's back to a 30-point margin in favour of Sydney, and Archie Perkins is on the board.
They need that. That's an understatement.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Certainly unlucky there from Jake Lloyd. And I know Jake Lloyd quite well. He'll be thinking about that decision all week. I know Lloydie very well. He'll be filthy.
Can't let it go. Can't let it go.
Going through the vision. He'll be sending it through to the AFL.
Isn't John Longline notorious for that?
For what?
Sending through cuts, I think, to the AFL.
You tell me what coach isn't.
I've heard
every coach is.
I've heard John's the worst.
Jake Lloyd would be a player that would do that.
In a Melbourne Cup field.
I mean, the rule is prior opportunity. I don't see how he had prior opportunity there. He controlled the ball, tried to get the handball free, and was tackled before he got his arm to it. That's a hot call.
I don't know half the rules out there. Or the interpretations. I'm not sure the interpretations out half the time.
Back in the middle, Draper lays it down. Parker can't quite gather it. Shield coming through, tackled by Mills. And we'll get another ball up. Just forward of halfway for Essendon. So back to 5 goals neat. A lead for Sydney. Hickey flicks it down again. Nobody emerging out of there just yet. Bring in McGrath. Parker over the top of him. Eventually it spills out to Martin, who picks it up. Tries to break a tackle, feeds a handball forward to Draper. Attacking edge of the square. Heads to the pocket and finds Perkins. Oh, not quite. Doesn't quite control it down. Arriving Heaney. Handball to Rampy, who conveniently hasn't fitted the fumbles to see it out.
There's the foot skills from the ruckman. How good is that to see? He's got to take the mark.
Boundary throw in right forward pocket for Essendon, who are enjoying some momentum at the moment, but are down by 5 goals.
Into time on in the second quarter. Perkins should have taken that mark. Would have had the chance to kick 2 in quick succession. Boundary throw in inside 50 though for Essendon. Hobbs is there, gets the handball free. Now Guelphy and Shield tries to break away from a couple of tackles. He's caught though by Mills, and surely caught holding the ball. Callum Mills with another strong tackle. That is his 8th tackle for the night.
Wow.
9th now, sorry. His 9th tackle. We haven't even hit half time. This could be a season record, you would think. Sydney Swans co-captain. He's also got 12 disposals, 3 clearances, 4 inside 50s. Having a brilliant night is Callum Mills.
So Mills kicks across the face of goal. Able to find Rampy again in the right back pocket for Sydney. Rampy will kick as long as he can towards the logos. Papley just spikes it forward for Sydney, but can only find an Essendon player. Cutler. Handball away to Hind, who's tracking it back, and he's tackled out by Papley. And we'll get another throw in on the wing.
Swan small forwards have put some really good pressure on tonight. That's one thing they have done well.
Just forward of halfway on the outer side of the ground. 30-point Sydney's advantage.
The Swans trying to arrest a 2-game slide. They've lost to Brisbane and then Gold Coast here at the SCG. Such an important game for them, and they've started brilliantly. Big jump on the Bombers as we get close to half-time. Here's Luke Parker, who's gathered it from that boundary throw in on the outer side. Looks for his options inside attack. It falls to Franklin at the back, and he can slam home another for Sydney. Buddy's got 2 for the night. Margin out to 36 points, and there's nothing like a Buddy goal to get the SCG crowd excited.
That's the advantage of being on the move as a forward. Doesn't matter what size you are. If you're on the move constantly, makes you hard to defend against. And that's one thing, but when he's up and going, he's moving. He's not stationary or getting clamped down by a defender. So you can see, the Swans forwards tonight have been up and about and buzzing around. And as I said, their small forwards are putting on some great pressure. Their bigs like McDonald's been really good too, putting pressure on. So you can see that was a focus for the forward group to be able to, let's put forward pressure on, let's hold the ball and pin the ball into our forward 50.
And just on your comment on Bart, I think you know when he's playing well, when he's working up the ground, he's working way back. You just see him just there, just kind of, get around. I think he's up there at the forward 50 at one point. His work rate's really, really high tonight. Really unselfish as well.
35 years of age and not slowing down just yet. Draper down to Parrish. Eventually, Sydney extracted. Here's Parker, sidestepping an opponent, running to 49, firing on goal, and Lukey Parker's kicked it. 2 in the space of about 15 seconds of game time for the Swans.
That's a trademark goal for Parksy. He loves that sort of kick.
They are making a meal of Essendon. 9-10-64 plays 3-4-22. 42 points approaching half-time. Ryan O'Keefe, Callum Sinclair.
Time and possession, I don't know if we have that, but that Swans have just controlled the ball. They haven't let Essendon get their hands on the ball and play Essendon high-tempo, fast ball movement game. It's totally on the Swans' terms at the moment. Now, the Swans can just grind it away and just plug away, kick goal after goal when it suits them.
You know what I'm finding interesting is just the centre bounces as well. Like Sam Draper is pretty dominant in there. He's getting his hand to it, but the Swans mids are just absolutely bashing them around there.
Swans by 42 points and they win another clearance. Goulden caught by McGrath, so spills free to Parrish. He finds a teammate in Martin, who sends Sydney into attack. Punched strongly though away by Dana Rampy, or is it Jake Lloyd back there for the Swans? In fact, he won a free kick as well. How's the tackle stats? 34 to Sydney, 15 to Essendon. Callum Mills has 8 of them for the Swans. The pressure right up for Sydney as they move it up to Nick Blakey at left half back.
Luke Parker telling one of his opponents that he was frightened after he kicked that goal.
Yep.
Here goes Sydney down the broadcast wing. Warner gets it off to Goulden, who whacks it long to full forward. Down there, Hayward, fisted away. Buddy in the pocket, gathers close to goal. Ricochets off his boot to Laverty, who gives it to Hind. He makes it a rush behind. And 3-4-22 Essendon, Sydney 9-11-65. 25 minutes into the second.
One player that has all right to go to an opponent. Hey, you're a bit scared there. You've ducked your head. He's Luke Parker. He's hard as they come.
Nick Hind brings it back in for the Bombers. Out to right half back for them. Rowbottom's there. Handball back to Goulden. He can snap Sydney back into attack, but watching that well is Zach Reid. Looking lively. Top 10 pick. Zach Reid. Still very skinny. Needs the body to fill out a bit, but you can see the talent is there. Here's Nick Hind trying to get the Bombers going outside of defensive 50. Kicks it over the head of Guelphy on the outer side. We'll have a boundary throw in. Sydney 9-11-65. Essendon 3-4-22. 2 goals to Franklin, 2 goals to Wicks for Sydney.
You ever caught one of them on the ground? Either of you? Opponent suggesting you just pulled out of a contest?
Never, mate, never. I've said to a few, you've ducked your head. Don't be so...
I'm as tough as they come, Ben. So, I've never made a mistake on a footy field.
Sydney win it on the wing. Rowbottom gives it away to Wicks. Looks into the pocket towards Buddy. Over the back it goes. Laddams is there. He's wrapped up. He's caught holding the ball. Laverty with the goal-saving tackle for the Dons on the last line. Kicks across the face of goal to Reid. Essendon in their back pocket. Sydney lead by 43 points, closing in on half-time. If they kick another goal, it'll be their highest scoring first half of the year, and that game was against West Coast, the previous best.
Strong mark by Sammy Draper on the wing. The kick came from Zach Reid in just his 4th game, and Draper, full steam ahead, managed to mark it strongly. Handballs to Hind, and now he's got a man free in Peter Wright at centre-half forward. So finally Peter Wright gets free of his opponent and is taking a mark. Probably a bit too far out, you would think, to score from here. He'll have to kick from 60 metres.
He's got to kick it now because he had options everywhere and he's gone back. So this, if he doesn't hit this is a selfish play, in my opinion.
Peter Wright's first mark of the night, 23 goals for the season, 10 goals in his last 2 weeks, including 6 against the Hawks in that win last weekend. He's kicking from 60 metres out. He struck it nicely. It's got the distance. What a goal. Peter Wright. Easy as you like. That big leg sent it straight through for his first. Margin back to 37 points in favour of the Swans.
Oh, I like it.
Well, he's hit
I like it.
That's fine. He had to hit it though. But good off to him. He knew his ability. He didn't. Ambitions and abilities didn't.
You had the shotgun ready.
He
was just ready to go.
I had the bazooka, mate. I was sitting there, boom. But anyway, he knew his abilities. Went back and hit a beautiful kick. So
kick.
That's a great kick.
Unbelievable.
It's gone
That's
miles.
65. Effortless, eh?
He barely extended. That was the amazing thing about it.
Oh, it was unbelievable.
Because he had two players free, ready to go. The Swans were scrambling to get back there.
He's marked it on the edge of the square.
Yeah. He's gone back. What's that? At least 5 minutes, even 5 metres past that.
He has comfortably kicked that.
That is 63, 64 metres maybe.
That's an NFL career, I reckon.
Not enough hang time. It was quite low.
Peter Wright, Hunter, back in the middle. Draper hooking it down towards Parrish. Back feeds a handball to Merritt, who goes back to Parrish. Now bursts out of the middle. Kicks towards the leading right again. Oh, he drops it off his chest. Essendon have the numbers. Here's Cutler snapping around the body. Getting involved, McCartan. This is Tom. And now Parker there to mop up his kick. A good one. He finds Warner, who marks it centre half back. Gets bundled over there by Durham. And then Warner just stabs it short and finds Parker again. Sydney in control of the ball, now on the broadcast wing.
Got Menfrey on the outside. Florent, he handballs it wider to Jake Lloyd. The Bombers have got numbers back, so he just chips it back inboard to Florent. And now he can switch it. Couple of men free on the outer side. It's Tom McCartan. Now Dane Rampy. Rampy plays on now on the outer wing. A low ball inside 50 for the lead of Laddams. And he's got him marking on his chest. Again, far too easy for Sydney. Laddams will kick from about 5 metres in from the boundary line, 45 metres out.
When you give a player, any player, that much time to make a decision, they're going to nail it. Like, there's just no pressure on the ball carrier whatsoever.
Just allowing it to chip it through the corridor too much.
So big Peter Laddams with 1 goal for the season. Doing some dual ruckworth with Tom Hickey tonight. His left foot suits this angle, but he's just pushed it across the face. So the Swans lead by 38 points. They are 9-12-66. Essendon 4-4-28. We are late in the second quarter. 29, almost 30 minutes gone.
Short kick in to the pocket. Redmond marks. Let us know where and how you're listening. 0437 774 774. Good to hear from Blake, who's down in Melbourne, enjoying the broadcast. As the short kick in the back pocket, Ridley, a good one to Heppel, the captain in his milestone match on his 30th birthday. And he spots up a target in Hobbs on the wing. Here go Essendon down the broadcast wing. A kick looking for Durham. And coming across, Tom McCartan able to fist it out and force a throw in at right half forward for Essendon. 38 points, the Sydney Swans lead, 9-12-66, plays 4-4-28. Elsewhere, Brisbane leading by only 4 points midway through the second term at the Adelaide Oval.
Boundary throw in at half forward for the Dons. Here's Merritt, met solidly by Wicks. That allowed Papley to come in and get a handball over the top to McInerney. Florent tried to kick it out of mid-air at centre half back for Sydney. Here's Mills with his head over it. Merritt with a handball forward looking for Caldwell. It's inside 50 now for the Bombers. Hayward with the kick free from that contest. Spills out to right half back. Picked up though by Redmond now. He tries to tap it to himself a couple of times and get free of his opponent. He can't do that. He'll have a boundary throw in just outside attacking 50 for the Dons, who trail by 38 points. Time ticking down in the second quarter. Darcy Parish up to 20 disposals. Leads all comers. Chad Warner has 16 for the Swans.
I wouldn't know he's out there, to be honest.
Boundary throw in now. Off the hands of Draper. And there is the halftime siren. Sydney having it all on their own terms here at the SCG, trying to snap a 2-game losing streak at home. They lead by 38 points over the Bombers at the main break.
So the goal kickers through to half-time. Buddy Franklin with a couple, Wicks with a couple, and then singles to Hayward, to Goulden, to Parker, to Hickey, and also to Bell for the Sydney Swans. And then for Essendon, singles to Francis, Hobbs, Perkins and Peter Wright with that monster kick from about 60 out that floated through quite comfortably. Importantly, after he ignored the options on inside 50. Ryan O'Keefe, Callum Sinclair, what have you seen in that first half of football?
Well, I've seen a team that has played out there with purpose and came with a real wanting to play and how they're going to go about it, and that's the Swans. They've come out, they've put pressure, their forwards have been up and about moving, putting a lot of pressure on. They've come to play led by their leaders. On the flip side, I don't know what I see with Essendon, to be honest, and I'm going to be pretty blunt here. They look like a team with no purpose. They don't want to defend. They've got no content. It's a bit of a soulless team. It looks like a team of just individuals out there playing for themselves. And as long as they are taking care of themselves as an individual, they're happy. They're all good. It doesn't seem any unity. Don't know how they want to move the ball. If they get held up, there's no sort of options. It's really concerning, to be honest. Like, if for a proud club like that they need to show something. And they are down towards the bottom of the ladder, and it's for a good reason, in my opinion.
Yeah, look, it's definitely a tough night if you're a Bombers fan at the moment. I just feel like structurally, though, the Swans are just absolutely dominating in every area of the ground. I've touched on it before, but I'll go through it again. The spread of goal kickers and the amount of inside 50s that the Swans are getting, it's giving them real opportunity in front of goal. Really, look, Sam Draper in the ruck's actually doing a pretty good job. He's jumping well, he's getting his hand to it. But at ground level, the Swans are just, the Swans midfielders are just absolutely killing them.
That's to my point.
Yeah.
He's, all right, that's my job, I'm doing that well, and I don't care, I'm knocking it down. Peter Wright, that's my job, go bang, I'm going to go back, I'm going to have a shot from 60 out. Yeah, he nails it. Okay, all good. But you need to play as a team. Like, when the ball's held up and you're not be able to go fast move on counter-punch football, it's like, what do I do now? What? No one's working together, nothing. The ruck's not working with the mids aren't working with the rucks. The backs aren't, they're sort of... That's what I'm saying. Just like, all right, just go out and play, boys, and take care of yourself. And, like I mentioned, Parrish, he's had 20 times. I wouldn't have known he's out there, to be honest.
Well, and that's been the knock on Essendon, hasn't it? That they're playing very selfishly, and they're... the way I heard it put by Corbin Middlemass last week is the... how did he put it? The calorie poor stats. They're basically filling the numbers but not doing any damage.
Yeah. And look, Cal, you're a current player at the moment, so you can't weigh in on this decision, But it's total, I'd be filthy if I was an Essendon supporter or paid up member, to be honest. Just, there's no fight, there's no contest, it's just, I'm going to play for myself. As long as I can look at the stat sheet at the end of the game, I'm happy. I've got me 20 possessions, or I've kicked me 3 or 4 goals, and I don't care what everyone else is doing. But as long as I've got my kick and I'll collect my paycheck.
Well, what's the message at halftime?
Well, I think this rot has been going from this whole year and probably trickled in from the back end of last year. You know what I mean? Like, this is something, a message or a spray at halftime is not going to change. It looks like it's in the culture of the team at the moment. So I don't think it's not an easy fix. But at the moment, no one's showing any fight. That's all. If I was down there in the coach's shoes,
I think it's just. I think regardless of what team you play, you just can't allow these to be. You can't allow to be in a pressure situation and then just let your opposition just somehow get out of it. Chip Mark through the corridor. Let guys like Warner, Parksy off, Luke Parker off the hook. They're running and bouncing through the middle of the ground, having shots on goal.
Yeah.
So
and no disrespect to Parksy, he's not the fastest midfielder runner. If he's running and bouncing through the middle of the ground, having pings of 50, the defence or the midfield pressure is not on. So the Essendon midfielders can all rack up 30, 35 possessions tonight. But to me, that's just, that doesn't impress me at all.
And also as well, we've spoken about, how good really the Swans ball movement has been, but also the physicality of their midfield. Like you've seen Callum Mills, I'm just looking at his
prime example.
Just looking at his stats now, captain of the footy club. He's had 13 disposals, 6 of them in contested possession. Is that 8 tackles? No, 9 tackles as a captain of the footy club.
13 compared. He's so far his best player on the ground.
Yeah.
And he's having a massive impact on it, and you can see he's a leader. And they've had 2 games that they've come off a loss, and he's come and said, "All right, boys, enough's enough. As leader of this club, let's grab this game by the scruff of the neck."
I just want to get to the bottom of something. So you played against Essendon today, and you mentioned about Nick Cox with an ankle injury. Was that an unofficial match, or was that a VFL fixture?
We had a VFL practice match earlier today
against Essendon.
Yeah.
Nick Cox injured his ankle.
Did he or not? Am I?
Well, I don't know. You were there. I'm asking you.
Well, I haven't seen X-rays.
But he injured his ankle.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think he didn't complete the game. Why is that?
Didn't finish. It could be a big blow for Essendon. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it could be a big blow for Essendon. But look, don't hold me to this. He came off the ground. He looks very, very sore. I haven't spoke to the MRI bloke.
He's already done an ankle this year, though.
Yeah, right. Okay.
It could well be a repeat of that, which wouldn't be ideal for Essendon.
Exactly right.
Doesn't seem to be out there anywhere. I went looking for it and can't find it. So, it could be breaking news.
It wasn't an official VFL game. It was just a VFL practice match. But
no one was there. No one was there to see it.
That would be a big blow to the Essendon list. That's for sure. Because we know how much of a talent he is.
Lots of SMSs rolling through. We'll get to those after the news. But right now at halftime, 9-12-66, Sydney leading Essendon 4-4-28. Let's pause and get the latest from the ABC newsroom.
ABC News with David Rowlands. Federal Labor has seized on reports the Prime Minister delayed briefing the opposition on negotiations to set up the new AUKUS Security Pact, suggesting Scott Morrison put politics before national security. Reports in 9 newspapers suggest the US wanted assurances that the new pact, which included sharing nuclear submarine technology, would have ongoing support from both the Coalition and Labor. However, Labor was only briefed on the new pact the day before the deal was announced. Shadow Foreign Affairs Minister Penny Wong says Labor should have been involved earlier.
He's prepared to say no to an American administration because he thinks it's in his political interest. That says something profoundly important about the extent to which he is prepared to put his political interests above national security.
A Green senator says the Prime Minister's pledge to adapt his leadership style is akin to someone in a toxic relationship pledging to change. Sarah Hanson-Young was in Hobart today with party and Senate colleague Peter Wish-Wilson. She said Scott Morrison's apology for being a bulldozer had uncomfortable parallels.
I mean, how many times have we heard that from some bloke in a toxic relationship? And this Prime Minister has a toxic relationship with the Australian people. Sorry, babe, didn't mean to do it, wasn't my fault, but promise I won't do it again.
The Ukrainian military says Russian troops are withdrawing from Ukraine's second largest city, Kharkiv, after weeks of heavy bombardment. Ukraine's General Staff says the Russians are pulling back from the northeastern city to focus on guarding supply routes while launching artillery and airstrikes in eastern Ukraine. The Ukrainian military says Kyiv and Moscow's forces are now locked in a long-term grinding battle for control of the country's east. The Queensland town of Gympie has been isolated by floodwater for the 3rd time this year. The Mary River is expected to peak around 16 metres tonight, flooding some businesses and possibly a handful of homes. Meanwhile, floodwater has receded at Laidley, west of Brisbane, where the main street was inundated yesterday. Shop owner Rebecca McGrath says the damage could have been worse.
We haven't had any major damage, thankfully, and no loss of stock. We got that lifted. We're doing at the moment what we can to just salvage the flooring. We've been in there with vacuum cleaners yesterday afternoon and this morning.
Victoria has recorded 22 more COVID-related deaths, the highest daily toll in more than 2 months. There were 12,160 new cases and 542 people are now in hospital with the virus. 24 are in intensive care and 4 of those are on a ventilator. 66.8% of Victorians aged over 16 have now had 3 doses of the vaccine, and there are now more than 76,000 active cases across the state. The 23-year-old nephew of an assassinated crime figure has been shot and killed in Sydney southwest. Specialist forensic teams have been examining the scene on Knox Street at Belmore, as well as 2 nearby locations where burnt-out cars were found. Detective Chief Superintendent Darren Bennett says the deceased man did not have an extensive criminal record.
It's not a person that we've warned about being a target in recent times as we have with others, but he's certainly known to us as being involved in that milieu.
Sri Lanka has lifted a nationwide curfew for 12 hours today, further easing tight curbs as the country's new Prime Minister seeks to form a new government. At least 9 people have died in recent clashes as the island nation's political and economic crisis has deepened. More than a month of mainly peaceful protests turned violent this week after government supporters stormed an anti-government protest camp in the capital Colombo, burning tents and clashing with rivals. The temporary lifting of the curfew will allow people out to buy essential supplies. New Zealand is making a new push to promote the teaching of the Maori language, with the University of Canterbury starting up a degree-level course. The university says it's a highly recommended option for people who might work with Indigenous people or in education, public or communications roles that require bicultural competency. The New Zealand government has previously set a target of 1 million people with a basic grasp of the Maori language by the year 2040. ABC News.
The aged care sector.
Cost of living.
Young people really care about climate change.
Keep across all the election news that matters to you.
With a lineup of some of the ABC's best podcasts on the ABC Listen app.
Get in-depth reporting from podcasts like Hack,
The Party Room,
and daily coverage from Australia Votes, hosted by Melissa Clark, James Glenday and me, David Spears, as we run through the issues that matter to voters.
All the latest election news that matters to you.
With the ABC Listen app.
The 2022 AFL Premiership season.
Grandstand AFL. On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Oh, buddy. He takes the mark from behind as McInerney sends it back inside 50. Buddy wants to play on, wheels around on the left and holds up the right arm to celebrate. He loves playing against Essendon and he's on the board tonight. Sydney have kicked the last 5.
Vicky at the back, the biggest rover in the game at the moment. To Papley, now a snap-on goal from Goulden. He loves these, and he's bent it round for a major. Errol Goulden with his first of the night. Lloyd's been caught holding the ball. Looked like it would be a ball up. He dived on it, according to the umpire. So well done to young Archie Perkins. He's won a free kick inside 50. He'll kick from about 42 metres out at a very slight angle. That was a bit hot. Well done by Archie Perkins, though, with a strong tackle. 9 goals for the season. Perkins strikes this nicely. And he's got an important major for the Bombers. Their third of the night. Luke Parker has gathered it from that boundary, throwing on the outer side. Looks for his options inside attack. It falls to Franklin at the back, and he can slam home another for Sydney. But he's got 2 for the night. Margin out to 36 points, and there's nothing like a Buddy goal to get the SCG crowd excited.
Sydney extracted. Here's Parker, sidestepping an opponent, running to 49, firing on goal, and Lukey Parker's kicked it. 2 in the space of about 15 seconds of game time for the Swans.
This is the 2022 AFL Premiership season.
On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
And it is the Swans leading by 38 points at the half of the SCG Saturday night football in the Harbour City. And lots of SMSs rolling in on 0437 774 774. Let us know where and how you're listening, and particularly if you're an Essendon fan. Kevin from Myrtleford says, great call, boys. What's wrong with Essendon? They've got the great players. Well, they've got the players, but it just seemed not to be able to play as a team. Sad to see. Ryan O'Keefe, you spoke about it earlier.
Yeah, definitely. Not that they don't have good players. I never said that at all, but it's playing as individuals, a bunch of individuals out there just sort of playing for themselves, feeling quite content as long as they do, get their touches or kick their goals or whatever it is. No cohesion, no playing as a team. When there seems like their one and only way of playing is get the ball, go fast, and just take it on and get it as quick as. When that's not happening, there's nothing. They've got no synergy, got no other way to sort of move the ball. There's no fight around the contest, and defensively, it's just non-existent.
Some of the other SMSs rolling in. We've got one from Al, who's in Western Australia. He's seeding the crops. So thank you, Al, for your sentiments. They work hard, those farmers. And Ben in Terralgan says, I'm a very disheartened North supporter, enjoying the call, though. Can you find any...
Well, I did hear that... is that North Melbourne?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did hear that Francis has put his contract talks on hold. He only played 8 games of footy, and they can now put their contract talks on hold.
You were a North Melbourne fan as a kid, Cal.
I was a North Melbourne fan as a kid. I was what you'd call a nuffy garbs. An absolute nuffy.
We're all nuffies deep down. Maybe not Ryan. He's a bit too cool for that. The rest of us are.
Corey McKernan, Wayne Carey, Schwass, Scholl, Longmire.
One of my favourite stories from you is when you got to meet...
The fridge, Mark Roberts. Yes.
Blake. Rudy Allison with the long sleeve.
What's this one, Benny?
When you got to meet Wayne Carey at a junior clinic...
This is good.
And there's a great photo of it. It's documented. Cal's taking a hanger over the top of the king, which is something else. But how did it play out, Cal?
Well, I think... Have I told you this story? Yeah. I think I have. So, as a 11-year-old kid, I was 10 years old, I think. Couldn't believe my luck. I'm going to go have a photo taken with Wayne Carey. I think he was promoting some sort of television show that he was going on, and I thought, I'm going to actually meet my hero. And they actually sold it to us, that you're going to have kick-to-kick with Wayne Carey. I was like, how good's this? Anyway, turns up, g'day boys, boots the footy about 60 metres and walks off.
Unbelievable. You're all running after it, get the footy, and he's gone.
Mate, he's gone. Anyway.
He thought, if I kick it far enough away, I'll get away before these kids realise.
Anyway.
Very good.
A couple of stats to half-time. Darcy Parish, 20 disposals, leading the way. 10 of those possessions contested, so he's putting in a shift for the Bombers, but he needs some mates to go with him. Ridley has 15 disposals, and then it falls away dramatically. I've liked the game of Ben Hobbs. I think he's a youngster with a lot of talent. 10 touches, coming off 19 last week. Kicked a goal as well. You can see why he was a first-round selection by Essendon. Dylan Shield, 10 possessions, but metres gained, -8. So he's giving them no penetration whatsoever. And Zach Merritt and Andy McGrath, I mean, arguably they're two after Parish main prime movers. McGrath, 7 disposals, Merritt, 6 touches. Both of them very, very quiet. And one of the main reasons for that is that Sydney are winning it in the clinches. Luke Parker with 12 possessions, 3 clearances. Mills with 13, 4 clearances, 8 tackles. Warner's been excellent, 4 clearances for him, 16 disposals. Goulden's getting it with ease on a wing. He has 13 touches. So, yeah, the Swans 123 disposals to Essendon's 91. And this is happening, this 38-point margin at half-time in favour of Sydney, in Dyson Heppel's 200th game, their captain. So it's been a poor performance when you're trying to make it a celebration night for one of your greats in recent times.
Also, we mentioned in the first half that Luke Parker, after kicking that goal, just gestured to one of the Essendon players that they were perhaps shirking the issue a little bit, maybe just ducked in a contest. It was Dylan Shield that he was making that gesture at. So I didn't see the incident. I don't see where Dylan ducked.
I would rather miss a goal straight in front at the top of the square than duck my head. That's how bad it is.
How bad is it when you're in the team meeting and everyone's watching the review? You see it on a Monday.
You'd want to dig a hole. You'd want to dig a hole and jump in it and just bury yourself.
Look, we've all had issues on the footy field and we've all made mistakes, but that meeting on a Monday, if you've done something, it's just like,
you know it's it's coming.
The key is to not put yourself in that situation.
Exactly right. Just don't do it.
Contest.
Don't do it. Don't do it. But in terms of, say, Dylan Shield, there he goes, Dylan Shield. He would be having probably the worst season of his career, to be honest. Like he got dropped there. He was one of the subs. He got dropped and he was a sub. It's just it doesn't seem himself. Because I rate Dylan Shield as a brilliant player, like one of the great midfielders. But this year he's just been an absolute shadow of himself.
Just about set for the second half. Sydney leading by 38 points on a Saturday night in Sydney. Terry, the tractor driver in Country WA, says, "G'day team, love my beloved Dons, but we're not going so good. Maybe I should change to the Dockers." Stick with them, Terry.
They're going well, the Dockers. They're
humming.
They are the dark horse of the competition, I think.
They haven't won a final in this long. Terry, you might as well stick with the Dons now. Second half about to get underway. 38 points Sydney's advantage. You're with Daniel Garb on the ABC.
You can't change your footy team, Tezza, but they're doing it tough at the moment. Down by 38 points. Draper does well to win this out of the ruck contest, though, and Parrish plays on for possession 21 as a man free just inside 50, though. And that is young Nick Martin, who, as we know, has been so impressive since making his way onto the Bombers list, off the rookie list. 5 goals on debut. He's had over 20 possessions in all but one game this season, Nick Martin. So already a crucial part of the Essendon midfield. He'll kick from just outside 50 on a 45-degree angle. The Bombers would love the first of the second half. Strikes it now. It's looking good, but it's just missing to the narrow side. So Essendon 4-5-29. The Swans 9-12-66. Daniel Garb, Ben Cameron, Ryan O'Keefe and Cal Sinclair with you on ABC Grandstand.
So Blakey to take the kick in. Called to play on now. Slithers into the pocket and kicks towards the wing. Looking for Laddams, who goes up and marks. Strong mark from Laddams. Gives it off to Warner. Waits his kick perfectly for Papley in the middle of the ground. He's got a man on belt. Ignores that momentarily. Goes short. And mark taken here by Mills, who was prolific in the first half. Callum Mills. Now moves it out wide to Tom McCartan, just forward of the wing, broadcast side of the ground. Looks inside a fairly congested attacking 50. Cal Sinclair having a nightmare with the plate. Long kick towards the forward pocket. Out of play. And we'll get a throw in.
I've just smashed a meat pie and I might have just broken... No, I haven't broken a plate, but sorry to all the listeners.
Didn't land on the hat. We'll get a throw in. 40 around from the attacking goal for the Swans. 37 points their advantage.
Laddams palms it down to Papley. McGrath with the clearing kick from defensive 50 for the Bombers. Well done by Perkins to swoop on it. Broke free the Warner tackle. Got the handball free as well. McGrath tries to soccer it up the ground, but it bounces off McInerney and a couple of times over for a boundary throw-in. Sydney by 37 points. Chad Warner 17 disposals now for the Swans. Mills 14. Parrish 21 for Essendon. Ridley 15 for them.
Adelaide leading at half-time in their match against Brisbane by 3 points. Earlier today, St Kilda by 10 over Geelong. Laddams flicking it to the back. Papley, handball, too sharp. Stolen there by Martin across half-back for the Dons. They're under pressure. Sydney win it back. McInerney's handball knocked down. Back after it, Hayward. Back feeds a handball back to Warner, who will kick long towards full forward. They've got the numbers, Sydney. Logan McDonald can't quite mark it. Coming through Heaney, close to the goal line. Wicks picks it up. Handball too hot there for Papley. Now Redmond tracks after the footy. He's able to swat it away. Shield shovels out a handball. It misses the target initially. And the Sydney pressure comes again to force a throw in left forward pocket for the Swans. They're out by 37 points early stages of the third.
McDonald's obviously been told to go for all these marks and fight for him. He's gone for a few, but probably hasn't gone for the right decision sometimes. But he had his opponent absolutely cooked then.
Laddams palms it down to Goulden, who gets back onto his left and then just looks for Tom Papley in the pocket, but has missed him. And as you said earlier, Ryan O'Keefe, when you're such a good kick, maybe sometimes you try to bite off a little bit more than is realistic, and Goulden on that occasion had just sprayed off the side of the boot.
I'm going to jump in here. The cheeky little wink that Ryan gave me.
hey, Carl, well done, mate. I'm only a novice to this game.
Oh, you've accomplished more than me, so
here you go,
your
Sydney.
opinion's a lot weighted.
Here is McGrath, a dangerous kick across the face of goal. Heaney brings it down to ground level. Bell swoops on it, pulls back the kick unselfishly, overshoots Buddy. Finds right. Merritt. And now Merritt kicks Essendon up the middle to Hobbs. Hobbs has a man out on the wing. Sends it in that direction now, looking for Perkins. He can't quite take the mark. Has to go again at ground level. Goulden right there with him, corralling him, eventually picking it up. He's tackled by a Shield.
Well done, Errol.
And we'll get a ball up, neutral territory on the wing.
Really caught out of position there, Errol Goulden, and went back with the flight. Didn't make a silly decision and just, give away a free kick, but kept his feet, forced a stoppage. Smart.
Swans by 37 points, start of the third quarter. They win it off the ruck tap. Draper to Perkins. Now they go inside 50 from McGrath. The punch came from Rampy, fell to Guelphy though. The snap on goal from Peter Wright. And he's got his second for the night, Peter Wright. Toomey to Peter, doing it well at ground level. And the Bombers strike first in the second half. Margin back to 31 points. Essendon 5-5-35. The Swans 9-12-66. That's 25 goals for the season for Peter Wright.
That's come off a Swans turnover again. Like in terms of Bell, they had ample amount of opportunities. Turns it over there, and that's how Essendon's got their forward generation off the back of that. So good finish there by big fella. Very good.
I think that might be the game they have to play as well to kind of, get themselves back into a competitive position, get the ball in, bring it to ground. That's kind of the only way they're scoring. They're not scoring by uncontested marks, Ryan, going inside 50 or finding a hit up. They're finding it like ways like this, ball hitting the ground, getting putting the Swans' defence under a bit of pressure.
Having a fair year, Peter Wright.
Absolutely.
25 goals, as Garby mentioned. 10 coaches' votes last week. Back in the middle, Draper goes early. Laddams down towards Mills. Handball away to Warner, who tries to take on Shield, bumps him away, and then kicks a mongrel punt towards half forward. No mark taken. Swooping on it, Papley. Handball to Kennedy. Has a leading target in McDonald and delivers it precisely to leading Logan McDonald. 35 metres out, 45-degree angle.
Lovely little dart there by Joey. And good lead by the big fella. McDonald's been really presenting himself well tonight. He said he's obviously been told to go for his marks, go for the contest. So he's definitely that. He's had a real crack.
Back in the side last week. Kicked one goal on that occasion. Fourth pick from 2020. The drop punt's a good-looking one, but it's a little left. Behind 9-13-67 plays 5-5-35, 6.5 into this third term on Grandstand AFL on this Saturday night.
Dyson Heppel in game 200, brings it back in. Looks for Peter Wright at left half back, who's come a long way to try and make a contest, but the Swans win it back. Here's McInerney, keeps his feet well. Tried to poke it forward looking for Bell. That didn't go 15 metres, no way. It was picked up by Jake Kelly. Now he can find a teammate further up the boundary line in Sam Durham.
It's another turnover by the Swans. It's the way Essendon's scoring, so if they can hold on the ball here, you watch Essendon get a scoring shot.
Durham short to Cutler. Just went 15 metres in front of the interchange gates. Plays on now in the blue boots, does Tommy Cutler to centre half forward. Tom McCartan's there, he couldn't mark it. Now Rampy at the back of the pack for Sydney. Sweeping handball to Josh Kennedy, and then he finds McInerney about 10 metres, 15 metres further forward.
Another beautiful kick from Kennedy as McInerney moves it on towards Mills, who gets it on to Warner. The Swans down this broadcast wing. Now Warner towards Bell. He takes the mark. Under a little bit of closing pressure from Parrish. Bell close to the boundary line, 55 metres out. Bell will set it up to the pocket, looking for Heaney. Goes up, can't complete the mark. A blonde-haired number 5 for Sydney Swans. Like his predecessor, the man sitting to my left. 9-13-67 plays 5-5-35, 32 points. Sydney's advantage.
It's not a bad option there by Bell, because if he gets knocked out, it gets a stoppage. You get a 450 stoppage. So it's a safe sort of entry.
Nick Bryan doing the ruck work for Essendon, palms it down to Caldwell as the clearing kick, and now a chance for Dylan Shield for Essendon to go into attack. He finds Aaron Francis free. He's dropped a very easy mark though, inside 50, running back with the flight of the ball. But he's won a free kick though for held without it. Will advantage be paid? It is to Draper. Couldn't quite pick it up though, so now the Swans can rebound. They've blown that opportunity when advantage was paid. The Bombers, they would have had a shot at goal. Draper tried to play on. Not quite sure the ruckman's the best man in that situation. No offence, Callum Sinclair.
I don't think there was any advantage. Here's Sydney at half forward. Buddy goes short. And Papley marks 40 metres out. 45-degree angle, left-hand side. He'll come back centrally. And Rowbottom drops it. He should have marked it. Now he has to play on at ground level. Heaney comes in to help out. Spins, twists, turns. Handball to Papley. He fumbles when he should have gathered cleanly. Now spins, snaps on the left, and snaps the goal. Papley said it was too easy. I'll make it a little more difficult. And kicks his first goal of the night. Tommy Papley. And Sydney get their 10th. They're 10-13-73. Plays 5-5-35. 38 points Sydney's advantage.
I think Papley wanted to have a shot like that because he's missed every set shot he's had. So but that's just to it. That was just so easy just to be able to... They bumbled, they bothered, like...
I think good teams in that situation, if you're going to drop a mark, they're just going to rebound straight away.
That should have gone back.
Yeah.
That's a scoring shot.
Yeah.
That's just way too easy there. But anyway, he's kicked a good goal in the end. Much better on the snap than he is at the set shot, that's for sure.
The intensity inside defensive 50 there from Essendon was pitiful. Tom Papley had 4 men around him. He was able to spin free from all of them, snap on goal and kick it. And Rowbottom had a chance to be tackled before. The Bombers didn't get near him. Margin out to 38 points, and this has perhaps a tendency to get out of hands for Essendon. They need to kick the next one. Here's Heppel, works it out to half forward. It went through Durham though. Picked up by Mills there. Now they find Warner, who's had plenty of it. Possession number 22. Sweeping handball to find Paddy McCartan, who's free. He can go to centre half forward and find Heaney. Went through his hands. Should have marked that. Rowbottom's there though. Good tackle from him by Brian, the young ruckman, but he's caught him high. So Rowbottom at centre half forward. There's a man free as he switches it to McInerney. Just outside attacking 50 for the Swans at left half forward. McInerney looks for the lead of Franklin and finds him. Diving low to his right. Too easy for Sydney. Again, they spot up a teammate inside attacking 50, and Franklin will kick from 30 metres out and slightly worse than a 45-degree angle.
Essendon have got 12 players in our defensive 50, and to allow an uncontested mark is disgraceful. Sorry. You just can't allow that.
Buddy Franklin with 2 for the night. 11 disposals as well. 6 marks now. 38 points to margin in favour of the Swans. Buddy kicks it. It just sprays it to the near side. So Franklin with 2 goals, 3. Margin out to 39 points in favour of Sydney, having it all their own way here. We've gone 12 minutes in the third quarter at the SCG.
What is it, Rock? Is it attitudinal from Essendon?
Well, you can see that what they don't value, because before there was a 50-50 ball between Bryant and Rowbottom, and Bryant stopped and allowed Rowbottom to run at the ball. So they obviously don't value going in and winning the contested or winning your own ball. Otherwise, if you value that as a team, bang, you're onto it, and you'd be going flat out to win that ball first and make a contest.
They cough it up in the middle again. Here's Haywood to Florent, bursting through the middle, almost run down, gets a handball away to Franklin. 52 out, he stops, props, chips laterally, not the required 15. Now McGrath replies the tackle. Gordon loses it, Franklin goes in again. Now Mills knocks it inside attacking 50 for the Swans. Wicks, handball to Rowbottom, handball to Mills. He snaps from 40, it goes towards goal. The Swans have the numbers. Doing well though, Heppel halves the contest, then wins it at ground level. Handball away from Laverty for Cutler, and he fumbles it out. And we'll get a throw in deep in the left forward pocket for the Swans. Swans by 39 points.
Sorry, Benny. The Swans have just got options everywhere, particularly by hands. You see, what Essendon unfortunately is doing, they're just being completely, they're getting beaten at the footy, but they're also getting sucked in too much.
Boundary throw in next to the behind post. Hickey palms it down looking for Rowbottom, went through his legs. Now Bryan under pressure, handball free into a dangerous spot. Warner swoops on it first for Sydney. Picked up by Hobbs, and now McGrath snaps it up to the wing to try and relieve some pressure for the Bombers, but it's won back easily by Sydney. Paddy McCartan and Kennedy, and now McInerney with handballs to half forward now. Goulden looking for a man inside 50, and Franklin spoiled away from him, picked up by Wicks. Well done by Redmond to strip it free from Sam Wicks, and bodies fall on the football. We'll have a ball up 35 metres out from Sydney's goal, directly in front. They lead by 39 points here at the SCG.
Just looking at this, Callan Ryan, 22 tackles for Essendon. 22.
And you're losing by 40 points. Wow.
Loose footy picked up there by Durham, who gives it away to Martin. Back feeds a handball to Shield. Essendon with the football on the wing. Here's Hind trying to chip and doing so cleverly to Durham, who takes the mark just forward of the wing. Durham looks a little bereft momentarily, so he'll just kick as long as he can. In the Peter Wright direction, 2 metre Peter launches, hands to it. Doesn't bring it down. Florent comes through, fumbles it towards the line, and eventually out. A throw in 40 metres around from the Essendon attacking goal. 10-14-74, plays 5-5-35. Quarter hour mark, third term grandstand AFL.
Only 2 wins for the season, the Bombers. This was meant to be the campaign that ended their finals win drought, stretching back to 2004 after making the finals last season. A lot of fans would have thought perhaps the Hawthorn win last week would be the catalyst to make things right. Well, as Logan McDonald dives and takes a very good mark at right half back for the Swans. Not panning out that way, trailing by 39 points here. Clearing kick from defensive 50 for Sydney came from Goulden, and McDonald marked low, goes short and finds Florent. The young guns for the Swans combining, as they have so often in the last season and a bit. Here's Ollie Florent up to possession 15 from right half back, kicks it to half forward, looking for Buddy Franklin, and goes over the head of the pack. In fact, Franklin worked Ridley under the ball. It's a push in the back, and Ridley will take the free kick at left half back for the Bombers.
That's a polite way of putting it, working under, big shove in the back for the 2 hands.
I just watched Buddy there. He just wanted to turn to the umpire. Fortunately, he knows what happened if he raised his voice.
Got some great international listeners, which we'll get to in a moment. Laverty kicks towards the middle of the ground. Warner onto the loose footy momentarily. Coming through, Caldwell picks it up. Able to feed out a handball to Parrish. His handball errant. Now ball in dispute again. Still inside the centre square. There's a high free kick. It's going to go to Goulden. And moves it forward for the Swans to Parker. Quick little kick towards Papley. Drops the mark. Gathers on the sidestep. Gets away a handball. Mills coming through. Fumbles. Handball to Franklin. Tries to evade. Does so successfully. Tries to find a target. Great kick from Buddy Franklin. Great vision. Although dropping the mark, Warner. There's a whistle on the play. The free kick will come back.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Is that a rule?
What?
The block from Hickey. I don't think that can't be a free kick.
No. It'll go to Bryan in the right back pocket for the Dons.
That's
he kicks
rule,
laterally.
Pitt?
I've got no idea. I don't know. I've never seen that one.
A free kick to Essendon inside defensive 50. They needed that dangerous kick from Nick Martin, but he finds Nick Bryan at centre half back. Big ruckman for Essendon. Starting to work his way into the AFL now. Goes wide and finds Guelphy on the lead. He's marked it on the wing in front of Nick Blakey. It's slow ball movement for the Bombers. Just can't get any rhythm in their game whatsoever. Guelphy looks to go forward and then does a U-turn and goes back to centre half back because he was bereft of options. Laverde, and now he switches it to Redmond.
So Redmond, a left half back for Essendon, kicks to the wing and onto the chest of Martin. Now Martin looks towards half forward. A good kick. Able to spot up Caldwell, looking for a leading target. Now he'll go more laterally. And McGrath is able to mark just beyond the attacking arc. Gives off the handball. Ridley cruising by. Runs to 45. Pulls the trigger and misses left. A minor score from Ridley on the burst. Margin back to 38 points. Just quickly, Cameron, g'day Swan. Oh, sorry, go Swans. I'm setting up for a wine fair in Dusseldorf, listening to the game. Good to hear from you, Rhino, says Cameron.
Yeah.
Is that a mate of yours?
Don't know. Oh, he's in Germany?
Yeah.
Beautiful. Lovely. Probably having some nice Riesling there in Germany. They're famous for their Riesling.
Swans work it out from the kick in, but it's well marked by Zach Reed. Now Merritt at centre half forward for the Bombers. Looks for Archie Perkins inside 50. Off hands, picked up by Goulden, getting a lot of the footy. Now Blakey. Oh, the Swans can surge now. Warner, he's got a man free in the centre circles. That's James Bell. He dropped the mark. Warner's allowed to play on. There was a free kick against Bell. So Warner takes the advantage. Has Papley free inside 50. Bounces a couple of times in front of him. And out for a boundary throw in. Maybe that was too easy for Sydney. He had too much time. They lead by 38 points and they're just picking apart teammates with ease as they come away from half-back.
Yeah, I think they probably Essendon need to do a bit of work on guarding that corridor a bit better. And they're coming through with pace, the Swans. You can't let guys like Chad Warner, we know how explosive he is and what he can do with the ball. He's a very damaging, very powerful player.
Ryan and Hickey, Parrish at the front, wins the footy. Handball away to Cutler, who kicks the Dons into the middle. Guelphy's bracketed by a couple of Swans, and then Blakey soccers it forward, trying to pick it up there. Merritt. He's bundled over. Eventually it gets to Cutler. The Dons at half-back. McGrath will move it to the wing. Bouncing ball here for Perkins. He's tackled quickly by Mills. Stripped of it. He goes back and picks it up. He's stripped again. He's still going. Mills is there with him. Eventually he steals it. He kicks inside 50. Papley can't take the mark. Redmond goes at ground level for the Dons. Knocks it away to McGrath. Nowhere to go. He's caught holding the ball. Hayward got him. Hapley's down a little sore, but Hayward will go back and kick for goal from 45 metres out, slight angle to the right.
And you just see the Swans players get around their captain in Callum Mills. Arguably, you could say that the game's... What's happened here?
Oh, that was
reversed.
Yeah, that was Bell. Was that Bell shoving him in the ground while he's down?
Oh, is it?
So Essendon with the footy, and now they move it quickly to the eastern wing.
They go inboard and they find Darcy Parish, a reprieve for the Bombers. It would have been a shot on goal for the Swans, but perhaps James Bell with the afters on Perkins led to the free-keeping reverse. Strong contest there. Coming out hard to meet it was McCartan, and he's met Caldwell strongly. Caldwell is down on his haunches. It was Tom McCartan who came out strongly. Caldwell's won the free kick. The medical staff were around him, and now there's a bit of a melee that's broken out inside 50. Andy McGrath's in the middle of it, so's Ollie Florent. They did not like that hit on Caldwell from Tom McCartan, the Bombers. They're allowed to play on, though. They found Nick Bryan inside 50. The umpire wants to break up the melee, and that's the best way to do it. Just force the players to get things moving.
McCartan had his eye on the ball there. It was just a fair contest.
Very brave from the Essendon player there.
He's on his feet, Jai Caldwell, in the hands of the trainers, talking to them, so that's a good sign. Here's Mason Redmond, gets the handball from Nick Bryan. It's a long ball. It'll go all the way to the goal line, off hands. Guelphy with a chance to snap. He's wrapped up well by Heaney, 3 metres out from goal. Parish, and now a snap on goal from Durham. He's pulled it a little bit too far to his right. Periphery behind. So 10-14, 74 Sydney, 5-7, the Bombers. Frantic passage of play here in the third quarter at the SCG.
Do you just see that as a marking contest?
Marking
Ryan
contest.
and Kel?
Totally. Look, eyes on the ball by Tom McCartan. He didn't even see the player coming through.
Blakey with the kick in for the Swans, out towards the eastern wing. Shield going after the loose footy. Bell coming the other way. Shield gets it for Essendon. Handball to Parish, handball to Kelly, handball to Merritt. He slips right on the cricket wicket area in the middle of the ground. He gives the handball back off to Parish. Now Laverty drives it long inside 50. And there's a free kick. It'll go to Essendon. Sorry, it'll go to Sydney. Paddy McCartan will get it. Quickly downstairs. Sophie on the boundary.
Yeah, guys, Caldwell's just come off after that hit from Tom McCartan. He's in the hands of the doctors. Looks like he's actually getting his shoulders checked. I'll keep you updated when I can.
So a short kick from McCartan to the back pocket. And Lloyd will chip it short. Gives it a little too much hang time. Allows in Cutler, who's able to spoil Warner, and out of play. A throw in 40 around from the attacking goal for Essendon. The Dons trail by 37 points, 22 and a half minutes into the third.
We play an evasive collision game, and that's just the nature of the game. There's going to be some collisions, and unfortunately, two players, both went for the ball, and that's what's happened. That's just happens 1,000 times.
Draper worked Hickey under the football, so the Bombers win it off the boundary, throw in inside 50. The handball goes backwards, though, and that allows Sydney to swoop on it. Papley gives it to Parker. He kicks looking for Franklin. It's over his head. He's got space now on his opponent in Laverde. In Ridley, couple of taps to himself. Franklin, snap on goal. It's through for Ray behind. The SCG crowd was rising as one to their feet. Not the major from Buddy, who has 2 for the night. Swans lead by 38 points late in the third quarter.
Essendon bring it in quickly. Reid in the back pocket. Tries to bite off a dangerous kick. Rampy brings it down to ground level. Flicks the handball away to Hayward. Hayward's handball gets to Heaney somehow, who jams it on the left, bends it on goal and misses. Away to the right. A minor score. Sydney 10-16-76, plays 5-7-37, 39 points. We're 6 minutes away from three-quarter time on this Saturday night in Sydney.
They still haven't been able to put them away at the Swans. It is a big margin, but
Hobbs drops the mark at centre half back. Good tackle from him on Parker, and he's caught holding the ball. Ben Hobbs is a talent for sure, but the veteran Luke Parker might have whispered to the youngster in his ear, "You've still got a bit of work to do, son." He caught him there, and he'll have a kick from 55 metres out directly in front. Luke Parker, 39 points. You're right, 10-16 they've kicked the Swans. I mean, they could have put this game to bed a long time ago. And
exactly right.
They've got it on their terms, but the margin flatters Essendon. Here's Luke Parker with 1 goal for the night. Just gives himself a bit of room on the right. Launches one, but he sprayed it It's out of bounds on the full, in fact. So the score remains 10-16-76. Essendon 5-7-37. Late in the third quarter here at the SCG. Swans by 39 points.
So Jake Paul Kelly, as they call him, to take the free kick. Kicks beyond the defensive arc for Essendon. Right, and Tom McCartan there. Now Bell coming through. He's tackled quickly. We'll get a ball up. Or a high free kick, in fact. It'll go the way of Bell and the Swans. Just quickly, Rhino, you would have coached Jake Kelly at Adelaide. Is he having a career year this year at Essendon?
Yeah, look, he's always been a hard worker, Jake. And
Bell sets it up towards full forward. It comes down at ground level. A clearing kick from Cutler. It ricochets away to Hayward, who snaps from the pocket on goal and bends it through. Hayward second. And Sydney have kicked the last two. They're 11-16-82 for 5-7-37. 45 points. A game-high lead the way of the Swans.
You get back to Jake Bull. The reason why he's called Bull, because he just goes bull at a gate at everything. Like 100 mile, like it's rip, bust, everything. Just crazy. And he works so hard and tirelessly, but he almost acts before he thinks, and sometimes makes a mess of it. So he's like a bull in a china store.
I think we've been talking about, I think you mentioned it, Benny, a couple of times, is the tackle count from the Sydney Swans of how major it's been. I think the last 10 minutes they've been extremely ruthless on the Essendon. Yeah, and I reckon it all started with Callum Mills about 10 minutes ago. Yeah. He beat, he squared away that kind of like, 2v1 he was on. He kept his feet, and you just see how infectious that is from a leader. And I just feel like Parker's done it. Will Hayward's laid a massive tackle. It's been a real feature of the game.
He's had 10 tackles for the night, Callum Mills. I reckon he had 3 of them in that passage of play you speak about.
Callum Mills has had 10. Essendon as a team have had 23.
Well, they come away with it again, the Swans, through Josh Kennedy, and he can kick them into attack. Big leap at the back from Logan McDonald, off his hands. Luke Parker gets his head over the footy. It spills free. Wicks with a handball to Papley. Did he cop one high from Tommy Cutler? He did. Papley got there first, got down low. Cutler caught him high, and Papley will kick from 30 metres out at a slight angle.
He's milked the most out of that. Yes. The umpire who was actually facing him didn't call it. It was Matt Stevic from behind who called it.
He's a specialist.
He hardly touched him.
He's a specialist.
That's play on. That is play on.
So Tommy Papley with 1 goal, 3 for the night, but 17 disposals, only 9 touches and then 10 in his 2 games since returning from injury. He's having a night out at the moment, and he's got his second. Loves the goal, Tommy Papley. Margin out to 51 points in favour of the Swans.
Absolutely. He's definitely having a... He's definitely, working his way back into form, Tom. He had a pretty nasty injury at the start of the year, coming in those practice match periods, had a pretty nasty tendon, which you probably thought was only 1-2 weeks. Ended up being, 6 to 8. It was a bit more serious than what it was, and you basically have to do, another 6 to 8 week pre-season while you're in rehab. So I'm sure that the Swans forward line is very happy that he's now back in there. He's probably causing a few headaches tonight. He's getting up the ground a lot better, and he's looking like he's running across the ground a lot better as well.
Well, Essendon's proved to be a really good form finder team, so they're just like getting in the nets, just rolling a few easy ones over to get back form. But look, the Swans really, to be a statement as a good team, they really need to smash Essendon and have a massive margin.
Back in the middle, tap one down by Laddams, who then receives it back from Mills. He kicks the Swans to half forward in the direction of Wicks, who nudges Heppel underneath it, runs onto the footy at half forward. Now will kick long towards full forward. Getting back, Redmond takes the high mark.
He has been good, Redmond. He's one player that's played hard. He's contested hard. He's gone to win his own ball. He could definitely hold his head up high.
Swans leading by 51 points.
Redmond out to left half back, off hands. Cutler just snaps it up in the air, but to no one in particular. And Tom McCartan left it behind, allowed Guelphy to get hands on the footy, and now Peter Wright. He's got a man free in Archie Perkins at left half forward. But the 3/4 time siren beats Essendon, and the Swans are beating them easily at the moment. 51 points the margin, 12-16-88 in favour of Sydney. Essendon 5-7-37 Doubles to Papley, Franklin, Wicks and Hayward for the Swans. And for Essendon, it's only 2 goals to Peter Wright. The rest singles to Perkins, Francis and Ben Hobbs.
So some of the interesting numbers, we'll speak about this, no doubt, after the highlights, but 23 tackles to three-quarter time for Essendon. They're ranked 18 in the AFL for that category. They were number 1 in that category at the same time last year, and 54 in a game is the AFL average. They're not going to get close to that today with 23 to three-quarter time. So as it stands, Sydney leading by 51 points at three-quarter time in a Saturday night match in Sydney. This is Grandstand AFL.
Feel that nip in the air? Does it make you want to garden? ABC Gardening Australia magazine shows you how to propagate a rubber plant, create a spiral topiary, hybridise your own rows, and tips for growing peas and broad beans. And in ABC Organic Gardener, have success with seedlings, keep chook pests under control, and grow hearty winter veg such as leek and cabbage. Gardening Australia and Organic Gardener magazines. Available from newsagents and abcmagazines.com.au.
The 2022 AFL Premiership season.
Grandstand AFL on ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Fell to Guelphy though, the snap on goal from Peter Wright, and he's got his second for the night, Peter Wright. 2 metre Peter doing it well at ground level, and the Bombers strike first in the second half.
And Rowbottom drops it, he should have marked it. Now he has to play on at ground level. Heaney comes in to help out, spins, twist, turn, handball to Papley. He fumbles when he should have gathered cleanly. Now spins, snaps on the left, and snaps the goal. Papley said it was too easy. I'll make it a little more difficult. At ground level, a clearing kick from Cutler. It ricochets away to Hayward, who snaps from the pocket on goal and bends it through. Hayward second.
Bill's free, Wicks with a handball to Papley. Did he cop one high from Tommy Cutler? He did. Papley got there first, got down low. Cutler caught him high. Papley will kick from 30 metres out of the slide angle. He's having a night out at the moment, and he's got his second. Loves the goal, Tommy Papley. Margin out to 51 points in favour of the Swans.
This is the 2022 AFL Premiership season.
On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
So the Sydney Swans leading by 51 points as we turn for home at the SCG on this Saturday night against Essendon. And this SMS on 0437 774 774. Hi guys, listening to the call at work in the desert in Kazakhstan. Fair to say I'm one disappointed Essendon Football Club member. Poor effort considering Heppel's 200th. Didn't leave a name, but I don't reckon there's a great deal of listeners working in the desert in Kazakhstan, so I think you'll know who you are.
I'd love to know.
Kudos to you out there.
Text back in. Tell us what you're doing. Tell us your story. Yeah. I'd be interested to know a bit more about that guy.
Before we get to Ryan O'Keefe and Callum Sinclair, Sophie Clappin is downstairs and has an update on Jai Caldwell.
I do, guys. On the shadow of three-quarter time, he went down to the rooms with the doctors after that hit from Tommy McCartan in that last term. He hasn't returned, but Alec Waterman, Essendon's medical sub, has. He's got his Guernsey on, so it looks like Caldwell tonight might be done and Waterman's set to join the match.
Thanks, Soph. Ryan O'Keefe, Callum Sinclair.
Yeah. Well, you go,
Ryan, no, Ryan, you go. You've been best on tonight.
Always try my best at every game I play, mate. Look, for me, the Swans have totally dominated this game, but the scoreboard has flattered the situation a bit. For Sydney to really make a statement, this needs to be a good 10, 15 goal win for mine to go, yep, bang, we've played well, we've done well. I'm not saying they haven't, but to make a real statement as a good team, they've got a team on the ropes to be able to really just put the foot down and go. And in terms of that, we can't keep harping on it. I see more defensive pressure and tackling in AFLX. That's all I'm going to say about it.
I almost got a game in AFLX. Can you believe that? No, but I tend to agree. You see, back on the score right now, the Swans have probably been a bit inaccurate in front of goal. They've kicked 16 behind. There's probably been a handful there that they definitely could have put through the big sticks. But it starts all at the source. 15-6 in clearances to the Swans' way. Absolutely dominant. Centre clearances, I thought... Peter Laddams, I thought, has been terrific in the centre bounce. The Swans are there 7-2, and stoppage clearances around the ground, 8-4. So not a lot of stoppages in this game, to be brutally honest. I think a lot of the Swans mids are moving the ball really well, really clean for the corridor. Yes, they're being allowed to as well. But I think you are right. I think the Swans' message from the three-quarter time would to be ruthless and put a stamp on this game, have a real four-quarter effort. And I think if you're in the Essendon huddle, it would be, let's go home and try and win the quarter, to be brutally honest.
Yeah, you got to do something about it. But the pleasing thing about the Swans, it's their leaders. They've come in. We said at the start of the game, they had to make a statement tonight for a couple of poor performances in weeks in a row. To come out and make a statement, it's been led from the front, which is a really pleasing sign to maturity of the leadership group here and maturity of the whole team, even the young players. So for them to keep this form going, they've got to keep running, doing the little things, doing the pressure acts, the tackling in this last quarter.
Physicality,
because now they've got to look to next week's game and drag that form. You can't have a bad quarter and have poor form dipping into next week.
So Sydney leading by 51 points. The final term at the SCG on a Saturday night is underway. Draper takes it out of the ruck. He tries to burst away from them, does it well. Handball just behind Parrish. Feeds a handball inside 50. Waterman, the sub, into the game. Gives it off to Martin on his left from 40. A classy finish from Nick Martin. And the perfect start to the final term for the Dons. They're 6-7-43. Sydney 12-16-88. 45 points the margin.
How did the WA clubs miss this kid off the rookie list?
He trained with West Coast. Did a pre-season.
Maybe that sums up where the Eagles
down at West Coast, and they said surplus to requirements, go back to Soupy in the waffle.
If he was training there this year, he would have got a game.
Wouldn't be winning the best and fairest by about 10 votes at the moment, I reckon. Maybe Jeremy McGovern would give him a run, but it's alarming, I think, if you're an Eagles fan, to see how well he's adapted to AFL football. They trail by 45 points, the Bombers, but Nick Martin again showing why he is such a highly rated recruit for the Bombers off the rookie list, having an excellent season.
Knowing West Coast are fair, they'll throw an offer at him, get him back over.
Margin back to 45 points. Here's Papley trying to win it off the ball up in the middle. And there is that man we speak of, Nick Martin. Keeps his feet well, but his handball is just wide of its intended target. And now Mills is able to send Sydney back into attack. He finds Sam Wicks at centre half forward. Takes a strong contested mark. Has Lloyd running off him. He can look for an opponent, a teammate, inside 50. He does. In Heaney on a long lead. Didn't have to break stride. Perfectly weighted kick from Jake Lloyd. And Isaac Heaney will kick from 40 metres out.
That was a training drill. Sorry, Carl.
No, but you see the passage of play. You see just how hungry Tom Papley was to actually win that ball on the other side of the ground. Turned corridor, found Parker, found Mills, and a beautiful lead and a beautiful finish there by Jake Lloyd to spot up Isaac Heaney.
Heaney kicked 0-3 last week. He's got 2 behinds for the night, but now he's got a goal. Clenches both of his fists. 51 points, the margin. Back to what it was at three-quarter time, and Isaac Heaney has his first for the night.
But you watch the behind the goals vision there. The Essendon defenders are putting no body work into the Swans forward. Like Kelly was on Heaney there, played him back shoulder, but just let Heaney just roll up and take a lead, and Kelly was like 10 metres behind him. Like, there's no physicality, no want to fight, no want to put in a contest. It's basically, hopefully he drops it, or hopefully there's a missed kick. Staggering.
I don't think the drought without a finals win will be changing this year for Essendon. The point is, as much as it gets spoken about the fact that they haven't won a final in that period, they haven't put themselves into a position where they finished top 6 and entered a final as a favourite either. Draper out of the middle, emerging with it. He's stripped, caught holding the ball. And Rowbottom will get the free kick across halfback.
At least he's having a go, Draper. He's trying to fight, do something, create something different, and not just stick to the status quo.
Here's Goulden, pinpoint onto the chest of Parker, who gives it off to Rowbottom, kicks the Swans to half forward, going up, unable to take the mark Hind. It comes down at ground level, picking it up Papley. He'll kick towards full forward. Franklin in good position, doing well, Ridley.
Well read.
Reads it better than Buddy and marks at fullback for the Dons.
Worked his way into that contest nicely, Jordan Ridley, after Buddy had it on his terms in the first half. Still kicked a couple of goals, has Lance Franklin for the night, as Essendon move it out to Durham on the wing. Goes further up the boundary line looking for Guelphy, but it was a low percentage option as Jake Lloyd closed on him. We'll have a boundary throw in just in front of the interchange gates, favouring Essendon. Trail by 51 points here at the SCG. 13-16 the Swans have kicked, so the margin could be far greater than that if they had some accuracy about them tonight, Sydney. Off the hands of Laddams. Shield. It's handball to Rowbottom. Snaps it to half forward. Contest there between Heppel and Wicks, and Heppel wins it in game 200.
So Heppel wants to kick inwards towards the logo. He can't find a target. Off hands Blakey onto it for the Swans. His kick is charged down by Hobbs. Going in Rowbottom, he fights after it again. And the umpire to come in and ball it up. From our Kazakhstan correspondent, I live in Hobart and work over here on a massive oil and gas construction site in Tengiz. 2 weeks into a 6-week stint. Hopefully they're playing better by the time I get home. His name's Paul. Thanks, Paul.
Good season to be overseas, Paul.
Loose footy on the logo still. And we'll get another ball up. 51 points, Sydney's advantage. Doing well to still be with us, Paul.
Ball kick forward now by the Swans. Bombers, off the hands of Tom McCartan. Guelphy's there. Running back with a flight is Rampy. Picks it up nicely. Keeps the ball in play. So they've got the chance to rebound here. The Swans through Blakey. Outside of the left boot. Pass to Callum Mills, who's got plenty of teammates inside defensive 50 on the outer side to switch it to. It bounces once in front of Lloyd. He picks it up and now goes to Goulden. Kicks it up to the wing. Has Papley on a lead and he marks strongly. 21 possessions coming up for Tom Papley. Couple of goals for him. Able to recapture his best form in a night where the Swans have had it on their terms. 51 points the margin. He goes inboard and he finds Lloyd.
SMS coming through here from Richie. Not too happy, Richie. I'll get to that in a moment. As Lloyd, short to Warner, runs by, receives the handball. Wants to switch it towards the broadcast wing. McInerney, he drops the mark. Drops it through his legs. He's got a little bit of support there. Still going after it. Florent initially, getting involved Perkins, and now McGrath swoops onto the footy. Essendon quickly back the other way.
Francis and Parrish, and now McGrath with the handballs. They work it up to half forward, and Guelphy with a shock of blonde hair has a teammate in attack, that is Waterman. The ball suited him, but well done by Tom McCartan to watch it in the flight and affect that contest. And now Goulden finds Warner in the left back pocket, and the Swans just chip it out to Paddy McCartan. Well done to Tom McCartan to get back in position there when the kick was favouring Waterman 20 metres out from goal.
So Paddy here, wants to chip it back to Rampy at the top of his defensive goal square. Chips it short. The mark taken by Goulden in the right back pocket for the Swans. They lead by 51 points as Goulden goes short. Off a step, Mills kicks towards the wing, looking for Heaney. Hind brings it down to ground level, runs onto the footy. Handball away to Heppel, looks inside 50 for the Dons. He's got a man down there. Francis will launch. 2 hands to the footy, doesn't mark. Lloyd at the fall of the ball. He repels for the Swans, gives it off to Warner.
Kept his feet beautifully, did Lloyd. It bounces in front of Kennedy, though, and then it evades him. So McGrath at right half forward for the Bombers. Shrewdly goes inboard and finds Zach Merritt. Plays on now on his left and just eases one inside 50 for the Bombers. Wright was there. He split the pack. It bounces free to the back of it, though, and Paddy McCartan can pick out a teammate in James Bell at right half back. He's a very good kick, Paddy McCartan, for a big man, isn't he, Cal?
Absolutely. He's one of the big fellas that would... hang on a second.
Buddy with the handball receive on the wing. He's almost run down. Has to get the handball away back towards Heaney. Mills comes in, squeezes a kick. And only Don's there. Redmond marks. Cross half-back, kicks into the middle of the ground. And Hobbs is able to mark. He chips it short again. Straight to Hind. Now Hind wants to drive it long towards full forward. Launching Durham. He flicks it out towards Martin. Met in a Rampy tackle. It was called for a throw. So the free kick will go to Paddy McCartan. Just quickly, what Dyson and his team of senior fantasy point accumulators are serving up this week has the same colour as Nutella. Drop Heppel, McGrath and Merritt. Pure rubbish. Bring in the kids, at least they'll have a crack. Not jubilant at the moment. That's from Richie, who I'm assuming is an Essendon fan.
Yeah, fair call.
The capital of Kazakhstan is Nur-Sultan, if anyone's interested.
I would not have got that.
Previously known as the city of Astana.
Rampy out to the wing. The free kick. It's a Peter Wright.
Well, what I do know is that the cycling team, the Astana cycling team, and they wore the Kazakhstan colours. So.
They're the Kazakhstan national team.
Yep.
Going through.
The Giro d'Italia is going at the moment. It's about halfway through. It's been actually an exciting race.
Peter Wright on the wing, a long way out from goal. Kicks towards Durham. Now Waterman. Handball to McGrath. He can snap towards the big sticks for the Bombers, but he's missed near side. Should have done better. Had a lot of time there, Andy McGrath. Just margin back to 50 points in favour of Sydney.
Sorry, Garbs.
All right. Forward the history or geography lesson, please.
I'm just going through the photos of Kazakhstan here. It's a beautiful country.
Well, this thing's definitely gone out of this game. It's like a couple of baseline tennis players at the moment. Just hit back, forth. There's just sort of... Swans are doing what they want here. It's just a bit of a training drill.
Up the middle they go this time. Turn it over. Onto the footy, Redmond. Then Hine chips it to Hobbs in the middle of the ground for the Dons. So here's Hobbs looking deep inside 50. Trying to get it to Francis, who tries to protect the drop with his body. He can't. It skips out the back. McInerney there to mop up for Sydney. Kicks dangerously across the face of goal. Martin arriving. He can't take the mark, but forces it out, a throw in. Sophie Clappin downstairs on the boundary.
Guys, pretty good atmosphere down here tonight. Official crowd number 27,464 in the house at the SCG.
Saturday night in Sydney. No NRL in town, of course. They're all off at Magic Round in Brisbane. So the fans have stepped out. Lots of Bombers fans in attendance as well, who will obviously not be happy with their team's performance. Coming into the SCG, you saw lots of red and black Bombers scarves. As the Swans by 50 points as Callum Mills wins the free kick inside defensive 50. He's up to 13 tackles now, Callum Mills. 47 tackles for the Swans. He's got half of Essendon's tackles. They've only got 26 themselves, the Bombers. As the Swans move it up to the wing, it's over for a boundary throw-in.
But you can see that the pressure's gone out of the game. Even the Swans' tackle counts dropped a bit. They were flying there at one stage. This last quarter's become a lot of... What is it? Fantasy footy, junk time?
Self-preservation.
Self-preservation, that's it.
That's what the players say. From the throw-in, Hickey palming it down in front. Shields steals it, jams it on the left boot, tumbles it out on the full.
But you see the Swans, like, they're not really having to be that physical in order to get the ball out of the defensive 50. Like, they're kind of just jogging down, picking it up. Even just saw Justin McInerney just have the footy pretty casually. Yeah.
Sydney leading by 50 points as Lloyd chips it to Josh Kennedy. Where do you see him as being at, Ryan O'Keefe?
Josh Kennedy. I don't really want to say it, but it all happens to everyone eventually.
Father Time's undefeated as Blakey charges off half-back, chips it short and spots up the leading Hayward.
He's been playing a bit of half-back wing, and that's not his role. He's inside, class midfielder. Unfortunately, I just think that happens to everyone. The game just goes past.
There is Josh Kennedy, finds Warner with the handball. He sprints away from an opponent. He's done that numerous times tonight and kicks it to half forward off the hands of Franklin. Jake Kelly is wrapped up by Wicks, and he's caught holding the ball is Jake Kelly. So an excellent tackle by Sam Wicks. He now goes to the square looking for Heaney, went through his hands and through Frey behind. He almost collided with the boundary umpire, did Isaac Heaney. Thankfully no one was hurt. Margin out to 52 points in favour of Sydney. 51, sorry. 13-7-95 they are. Essendon 6-8-44.
Here's Heppel driving it long. Draper launching at the footy. Free kick. It's going to go the way of the Swans. It'll go to Hickey. So big Tom Hickey with his shaggy hair will Stark out onto the left and set it up towards a warmish sort of spot, looking for a marker. No one there. Cutler dribbles it out. Goulden slices back through traffic. Handball to Parker. Snap across the body, getting back Reid. He saves the goal and fists it through. So 51 points becomes the lead. Anonymous SMS, but we like these. Great vibe in the box tonight, fellas. I think the Bombers need some of your synergy.
Dyson Heppel out to right half back. Peter Wright's the target. Off hands though. Here's Warner. Goes inside 50 now. Handball to James Bell. Bell on goal. Straightens up and just pulls it. So the margin now out to 53 points. They've wasted a lot of chances tonight, Sydney.
It should have been a massacre, really, but it's light on in terms of the margin. And this is where the Swans need to be able to come in and finish, because their inaccuracies cost them a lot this year. And I think when it gets to some tough games when goals are a premium, you can't miss easy shots like that.
They kicked 13-19, the Swans 97. Essendon 6-8-44.
We'll get a throw in. 60 around. Another SMS here, anonymous. I don't mind it though. The only place Essendon would be successful is the MRO. Impact low, unintentional, no damage done to the opponent. No fine, free to play next week.
That is brilliant. That is absolutely brilliant.
Hickey wins the tap down. Dribbling a kick forward, Hayward. Onto the footy is Martin, who wins it for Essendon. Kicks across half-back. Ridley runs onto it on the bounce. Chips on his left. A good kick for Durham, who slides in. He'll get a free kick. Lakey just getting in his back. So Essendon with it on the logo on the outer side of the ground. They lead by 53 points, the Sydney Swans, quarter-hour mark of the final term.
They chip it across the defensive line, the Bombers, to Laverde. Now to Redmond on the wing. It's a half 40 as a man free in Perkins, who has worked hard in attack. Plays on quickly, looks for Peter Wright on the lead. It's in the pocket, though. And it's just about a metre clear of 2 metre Peter. Bounces a couple of times and over for a boundary throw-in next to the right behind post for the Bombers, who trail by 53 points here at the SCG.
Young Tex Perkins, he's not a bad. He's a good player. So they've got talent. They've got some talented players there. There's no question about that at all.
On the throw in, no decisive tap. Eventually Lloyd just snaps beyond the defensive arc for Sydney. Onto the footy, Heppel shovels out a handball back towards Archie Perkins. Handball away towards McGrath, back to Heppel. He kicks it out of bounds on the full, under pressure. The thing that I just keep remembering about Archie Perkins is that he wore a fedora to his draft night. A fedora. He did, rolled up, had the long hair, fedora on, something a little different.
Just kept an eye on Callum Mills there, just really having a few things to say to Merritt and McGrath, I think.
There's Florent with a kick to the wing for the Swans. Here's Nick Bryan. Rowbottom tries to get it free from him. Zach Reid taps it back and finds Nick Hines. So the Bombers win it back on the wing. Heppel, handball inboard to Nick Martin. Met solidly, though, by Hayward. And he's caught high. So Martin plays on now, and he finds Alec Waterman, the sub, who's on for Jai Caldwell. He copped a heavy hit, went back with the flight bravely, did Caldwell. The Carton met him solidly, though, so he's out for the game. Waterman on for him. The kick from the sub goes to the pocket. Here's Perkins, the man we just spoke about. A snap towards goal on his left. Laddams is back there, so is McGrath, half the size of Laddams. And between the two of them, they ease it out for a boundary throw in next to the right behind post for the Bombers, who are 6-8-44. Sydney 13-19-97, the margin 53 points. We've gone 17 minutes in the last quarter at the SCG. Here's Ben Cameron on ABC Grandstand.
Bryan and Laddams. Bryan flicks it down two-handed onto the footy, Parker. Handball away to Rowbottom at fullback for the Swans. He kicks towards right half-back. Bell, they're also putting his fist through it, is Cutler. Now ground level, Francis gives it off towards Cutler, who kicks back into the pocket for Essendon, and Guelfi's able to mark. Deep in the left forward pocket, 5 metres in from the boundary line, 25 metres out.
Well, I think this part of the game, I think the Swans now got to start really thinking about, they've got Carlton next week, so who do you start resting? Who do you keep fresh? Who's important, and start looking at that now.
Guelfi's going to arc around on the right and miss narrow. A minor score.
Game 200 for Dane Rampy next week. That will be a big occasion for the Swans. Game 200 for the captain, an All-Australian and best and fairest winner in Dyson Heppel for the Bombers tonight. But it is a pretty ordinary performance, to say the least, as Blakey brings it in from the kick in. He's down the corridor off the hands of Franklin, and the Bombers have numbers around the footy. They work it to Sam Durham now, just behind centre half forward in the centre of the SCG. Plays on and goes straight down the guts towards the top of the square. Pack is spilled by Peter Wright. Here's Brian, can't get hands on it. Blakey with the handball over his shoulder. And Tom McCartan just eases that over for a boundary throw-in. Still 52 points the margin in favour of Sydney, who are going to snap a 2-game losing streak. Needed to win this contest, and pretty certain they will do so.
I'm just trying to remain professional. Ben Cameron's just showing funny photos on his phone.
Here's Nick Martin, handball to Alec Waterman. Now Heppel in game 200. Can he mark it with a goal? Snaps it towards the top of the square on his right boot. Rowbottom goes without it. Durham's there, tries to get the ball free of the pack. Well done by Goulden. Clean hands inside defensive 50 for the Swans. McInerney now to Parker. He's caught by Waterman. Is he caught holding the ball? No prior opportunity, said the umpire. Waterman wins it back. He's added some spark in attack for the Bombers. He snapped, though, misses everything, and he's out of bounds on the full.
That's about the fourth one in that forward pocket this quarter.
52 points the lead, as Florent switches it across to Tom McCartan, who pinpoints Hayward, working up the ground and marking just backward of the wing on the eastern side of the ground. So Hayward just stops and props, chips it short to Wally Florent. He's pretty content to just chip it around again.
This is real
back to Blakey.
Real junk time footy, this one. They're just waxing off each other. No one wants to pick anyone. Everyone's just thinking of next week.
It's hard to commentate.
It is.
Lloyd kicks laterally and back to Florent. Good chance to pad the stats, though.
Yeah, we're all guilty of it. Definitely say that. And you've got Ruckman calling the switch kicks like I used to do.
Florent wants to go long down the line now towards a contest. Coming up, Ridley leaves it behind, picking it up. Rowbottom jams it on the boot. Has a man, McDonald, out the back. And he gets onto the high ball and marks. He'll flick away the handball. Kennedy's in the goal square and he bangs it through.
Wow. Three in the goal square to pick from. Three.
Josh Kennedy finishes and the Sydney Swans get their 14th and they break 100. They're 14-19, 103. Essendon 6-9-45, 58 points. And this season it's the 5th time that the Sydney Swans have crossed 100 and they'll be a perfect 5-0 when they do.
I think McDonald, he deserved to go back and have a shot and kick a goal. I thought his work and some of his possessions been really good tonight. So that's a bit of a plus for a young player to start building confidence and just getting games under the belt and learning his forward craft.
Absolutely. And Logan is a player that's probably been a little bit in and out of the side probably the last 5 or 6 weeks. You know, he's coming off the bench. He's getting limited minutes up forward. It's a difficult forward line to break into there with obviously Heaney and Franklin and McLean's been going really well, but I thought tonight would do wonders for his confidence. He's worked really hard.
It was dubbed the miracle at Marvel by some. Essendon's win over Hawthorn last week. Well, it's a slaughter at the SCG tonight. Swans by 58 points in the last quarter, and they've won a free kick. Off the bounce. Here's Rowbottom. Switches it out wide to Lloyd. Just goes over his head, though, so Cutler has the chance to intervene. He gets a hand in. It'll be over for a boundary throw-in. What have you made of the ruck contest tonight? So Draper has pretty much soldiered on his own, and it's been our first look at Laddams and Hickey in partnership together, Cal.
Look, I thought Draper in the centre bounce, I think we spoke about it at half-time with Ryan. He's actually been quite good. He got his hands to a fair bit of it. But, you know, he's a big boy, but I also think that Peter and Tom have competed really well. I think Peter has actually been quite good around the ground. He's had 2 or 3 shots on goal also. So, you know, if Pete kicks those 2 or 3 shots on goal, you know, competes hard in the ruck, you know, you're probably getting his measure at the end of the day. So he probably does need a little bit of help there, Draper, at some point throughout this game. But he has been quite serviceable.
Throw in on the broadcast wing. Laddams and Draper again. Laddams brings it down, coming through Shield, inadvertently soccers it back towards the logo. Guelphy goes in, picks it up, loses it in the tackle. Holding free kick, it'll go to Guelphy, who was dealt with after he'd lost the footy. So Guelphy to have it. Fourth time this year as well that Essendon have conceded 100 points. Lost all of those fixtures, conceding 102 points per game through the first 8 games. And that's going to go up because Sydney have kicked 103.
Ouch.
Here's Cutler, just forward of the wing, thumping it long towards full forward for the Dons. Big pack. No one able to take the mark. Down at ground level, Laddams kicks it while he's on his backside. Shields able to get the footy. Runs a little arc. Back feeds it to Heppel. Handball away to Cutler. Cutler from 52. Pulls the trigger towards goal. On the goal line right. He drops the mark and it's fisted through. A minor score. 6-10-46 Essendon. Sydney 14-19, 103. 24 minutes into this final term.
And if the dual ruck works, and hopefully it doesn't happen, but if one of them goes down, and that's an option that John Longmire likes, might it not open up an opportunity for yourself to get back into this team, do you think, if he wants to go with the 2 rucks?
Well, ideally, yeah. Like, obviously, I've been playing a little bit more forward the last few weeks, so trying to hone down my craft there to hopefully find opportunity in this side. It's promising for a player like myself that they're exploring that option. And speaking of the devil, Tom's taking a great mark on the wing.
And he plays on quickly to Chad Warner. Handball over the top to Wicks. So the Swans have numbers here on the wing. Rowbottom, though, the man inside 50 on the lead, decided to go backwards instead to Kennedy. Now works it up back to Wicks. That man on the long lead was Isaac Heaney. He goes short again to Nick Blakey. Bombers with all their men behind the ball now. So Blakey just pokes it inside the centre square and finds Callum Mills, who's up to possession number 28, the Swans co-captain. Finds Warner easily at centre half forward. Warner looking for possession number 32. I mean, it's almost walking pace for Sydney in their ability to find targets. It really is alarming for Essendon. Here is Chad Warner from 60-odd metres out. Just pops it up to the top of the goal square. Hickey's there, spoiled away from him. Waterman now wrapped up in a bell tackle. Hayward with the outside of the right boot. Bends it towards goal. Will Hayward bounces through. A bit of artistry there from Will Hayward.
Well, they're going to go to the...
I think he's got 3 for the night. The umpire and the goal umpire have a discussion. They want to check if it was touched, but I'm not sure Redmond got back on the line in time.
You seem confident, though. He ran pretty hard for that footy behind the goal, but...
It's a wonderful goal to Hayward. If it is awarded as a major, it would be his 3rd if so. Redmond in conversation with the umpire. No doubt telling him it's definitely touched, mate. No doubt to review it. No need to review it.
It seems like the Swans are set up quite well in their zone structure. So
it was touched off the boot.
Yeah.
Well done to Nick Hine to get hands across. So 57 points the Swans lead. 14-19, 103. Essendon 6-10-46. We look at the replays for this. Warner with 32 disposals for Sydney. Mills with 28. Parrish has 31 for the Bombers, including 12 contested possessions. Dyson Heppel in game 200 has 23. And finally confirmation that it was touched off the boot and through for a behind.
So Redmond to take the kick in, ticking down late in this game. Redmond runs to the pocket. He'll drive it long towards the broadcast wing. Through the hands of Paddy McCartan. Laddams come through. Clever toe poke. Scarlett-like gets it onto Mills, who snaps inside 50. And Hickey.
Good mark.
With sticky fingers, he takes the mark in the pocket. 30 out. Tight angle left forward pocket.
Go back. Have a shot. Drop punt straight through the middle.
He's already got one tonight. Tom Hickey. Didn't have a goal this year coming into this evening. Spins the yellow Sharon in his hands. Stutters in. One sock up, one sock down, and misses left. A little narrow from Big Tom. The lead out to 59 points in the way of Sydney over Essendon.
Time ticking down in this final quarter. Bombers no doubt desperate for that siren to go as Ridley brings it in off the kick in. Out to Dyson Heppel. Now Waterman. A man down for the Swans. That's Bell. Slow to get to his feet. Waterman's kick goes to half forward. Well marked by Nick Bryan. And the youngster will take some confidence from that. Running back with a flight, stuck his right arm out and was able to haul it in. Looks for Francis on the lead. Couldn't quite take the mark. Welfie's there. Handball free to Shield. He's wrapped up by McInerney. It gets free of the tackle in the end, Dylan Shield. Handball into the pocket to Cutler when he could have had a shot at goal. Shield wins it back. Now Rowbottom first to it for the Swans. Close to the goal square for Sydney. McInerney stands in it. He has so much time. Barely an Essendon player goes towards him. Now Guelphy makes half a challenge. They're just handballing it on their own goal line, the Swans, and finally they'll walk over for a behind. I mean, that just about sums up the intensity and pressure for Essendon tonight.
Wow. What can we say? I don't think so anymore.
It's like a standing start handballing drill at training in front of your own goals.
It was a 4v2 warm-up drill in the grid.
I think the less the said, the better. The less said, the better. As Sydney again just chip it around in their D50. They're going to win and win wide over Essendon. The Essendon fans were hoping last week was a circuit breaker. Doesn't look like it will be as Lloyd goes long towards the wing. And Saturday night's all right for fighting. It was all right for Sydney, and there wasn't much fight from Essendon. They win by 58 points. The Swans over the Dons at the SCG.
Shake down the thunder from the sky. Whether the odds be great or small, Swans will go in and win overall. While our loyal Swans are marching onwards to victory.
But the goal kickers, Lance Franklin, he finished with a couple. Wicks with a couple. Papley and also Will Hayward. Then singles to Isaac Heaney, Josh Kennedy, Errol Goulden, Luke Parker, Tom Hickey and James Bell.
Whether the odds be great or small, Swans will go in and win overall. While our loyal Swans are marching onwards to victory.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let's...
So the Sydney Swans able to extend their lead at every break. They led by 20 at quarter time, 38 at half time, 51 at three-quarter time, and the final margin by 58 points. The stat we were looking at right throughout, tackles from Essendon, just 30 for the evening. Callum Mills on his own finished with 13. The AFL average is 54, which is bang on what Sydney finished on. But they were Teflon, non-stick tonight. Essendon, Ryan O'Keefe, Callum Sinclair. What did we witness?
I don't think we can go on about it anymore, really, to be honest. Like, there's serious issues at Essendon. That's a soulless club, in my opinion. That they're not playing for anything. There's no contest. There's no fight. There's no there's no game style. I don't know what their purpose is, to be honest. So, wow, that is as poor a team I've seen this year.
No, it definitely would be a tough night for an Essendon fan, but from a Swans perspective, I think really pleasing in every aspect of the ground. Their ball movement was super. Yes, Ryan, I think they probably were allowed to do what they wanted all night, but I think at the end of the day, Swans would walk into the change rooms tonight thinking pretty pleased with everyone on the ground this evening. I thought defensively they structured up really, really well, really exposed probably their lack of options down there that the Bombers had. They really only just had Peter Wright, got lucky with a few goals hitting ground level. The midfield was dominant. The clearances, I've got the clearances here, 14-8 in centre clearances, and Draper's a good ruckman as well. 33-28 over the ground going the Swans' way. And then you look up in the forward line, the spread of goal kickers that they had was was really remarkable. And I thought that started in the first quarter or even the first half with Buddy Franklin being extremely unselfish, really set the tone for that forward line. They were giving it off. They were finding the best shot selection. And they were doing it, to be honest, pretty easily, because I think Essendon really did allow that to happen. And I think that's probably quite disappointing for them, particularly at this Dyson Heppel's 200th game as well. So, great night for the Sydney Swans, not a great night for the Essendon Footy Club.
The Bombers have Richmond and then Port Adelaide away before the bye. It doesn't get any easier for them. Only 2 wins for the season. Smashed tonight. There was a lot of excitement around Ben Rutten and what he was doing at Essendon last season, making the finals. It's a clear case of second season blues at the moment. They are really struggling. You saw a picture of him on the screens after the game. It looked as if the colour had been washed from his face. I mean, that was as poor a performance as they've put in all season long. As for the Swans, Callum Mills outstanding tonight. 29 disposals, 13 tackles. You looked for a catalyst in that first quarter, Ryan, considering the fact that Sydney have lost 6 of their 8 first terms, and he set the tone early on. He was outstanding again. What a season he's having.
And that's it. That's the pleasing things. Let's talk positive from this game. The Swans, you saw straight from the first bounce, they came with purpose. We knew what it was about, and we spoke pre-game about John would have wound them up, training would have been intense, would have been a lot of contests about get back to the Swans brand of footy, and you could just see the energy that it was electrifying in terms of the pressure. The small forwards, they were buzzing around, they were putting pressure on. Bell was fantastic early, Papley, he ended up kicking a couple in the end, but he was putting pressure on. It was really heaps of energy out there. Their backs looked aggressive. It's just the way they came and played was fantastic. And to be honest, it should have been 21-14. It was an absolute massacre out there in terms of, but the Swans made that massacre happen. It didn't just happen. I know we spoke about how poor Essendon were, but Swans did make them poor because they played a really positive game of football tonight, and it was led by their leaders, which is a really good sign.
Absolutely. And you see, even I'll touch on the small forwards as well. The inclusion of Sam Wicks and James Bell coming back into the side. These guys, it's just work rate. They are working up and back, up the ground, and particularly with Sam Wicks. He's an interesting story the last few weeks. He's come off the rookie list, come off the top-up list that we had at the in the NEFL there. So he's done it the hard way, and he was ferocious. I thought tonight he was tackling, chasing, all those sort of really trying hard to cement his spot, and unfortunately fell out of the side about 3 weeks ago, based on the fact that. He was a close contact, and then a week later they changed the rules and you don't have to be a close contact anymore.
Life's about timing, Cal. He was a little unfortunate there. Sammy Wicks, no doubt about that. The Swans just heading down into the rooms. Sophie Clappin is down there watching them enter. Soph, what's the vibe like down there in the rooms?
Well, guys, I can't see them just yet, but I can hear a lot of woos and a lot of whistles, and so I think it's a pretty happy bunch heading into this room, and why wouldn't they be? What a comprehensive win after back-to-back losses here at the SCG. All smiles from these sides, and pretty comprehensive win. They'll be happy with it.
All right, we'll head back down for the song momentarily. John Longmire there to welcome everybody in, and they're just starting to huddle up. Let's see what we can hear with the song. Workman-like rendition from the Sydney Swans down in the rooms. We'll see if we can bring you an interview in a short while with Sophie Clappin downstairs. Hard to judge, I guess. You spoke about it a little bit just before, but somewhat hard to judge given the lack of resistance they had. But did you see signs that the game Sydney want to play was closer to where it was before the past fortnight where they've lost?
Yeah, I have. Definitely. You said they came out, bang, from the get-go, we want to play this way, and they did. So it was led from the front, which was really, really pleasing. I suppose, going forward, if you're playing against a good team, you've got to be able to... Can you cover when you make some of those turnovers? Because they did play some aggressive ball and they did do some turnovers. Good team's going to make you punish. So it's how well can you clean that side up of your game. And when a team comes out and puts the red-hot pressure, are you able to execute as well? So, look, I think next week against Carlton's going to be a much stiffer task.
Cal, how much will that win be savoured for the Swans? Because not often they lose back-to-back games here at the SCG. That was the case. Brisbane and then Gold Coast. I mean, they had to get the 4 points here. They've done so. But what will the mood be like at training during the week after that, do you think?
Well, absolutely. Well, we spoke about it before the game and how important it is to not drop 3 in a row, because it just builds a bit of negative momentum going forward and you lose a little bit of self-belief. But I thought tonight, look, it'll be a great confidence booster for them. I don't think it was the greatest contest for them to prepare themselves for next week. You've got Carlton. I don't think Carlton, the way they're playing, are going to dish up what Essendon have dished up before, but I think it'll probably go back to similar this week. A lot of contest work. We are going into a 6-day break, I believe, so not a lot of time to prepare. We're only going to get in one main session this week, so but you know, as you said, the tackle count was quite low, so the boys might be pretty fresh to have a crack at training this week and really ruffle themselves up for, let's be honest, a pretty impressive midfield that there is at Carlton next week. You've got Cripps, Hewitt, Adam Cherry's come from Freo. So there's going to be a big emphasis. I know what the team meeting will be like now. It'll be like fantastic win, great. We've only got 6 days and we've got to actually double down on this midfield next week.
Carlton have got 5 days. They play tomorrow.
Yeah. Wow, okay.
So
are they staying in Sydney? I wonder.
You probably would.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you? I don't know. They might want to go to Melbourne.
Short flight, isn't it?
It is a short flight. You'd want to go home, get your own bed, even for 4 nights or whatever it is. But it's going to be interesting. That the Swans probably got more bruises and tackles against them at training than they did tonight.
Yeah. Dane Rampy's 200th next week. That's a big occasion. So Tom Papley, 19 disposals in his 2 previous games after coming back from injury. 21 tonight, 2 goals, 3. It was one of those games to cash in, and Tom did that. But for his confidence, how important is that for a player, just to get your belief up and going and your rhythm up and going, into the season, for such an important player for the Swans?
Yeah, I don't know Tom that well, but I assume, just what I've seen, he's a confidence player, so he needs to get that up and about, and he gets a bit of a bravado about him and that sort of stuff. But yeah, it's confidence for the young players too. Like wins or getting some touch back in, like Gould and these guys. After, you're right, if you've lost 2 in a row, some seeds of doubt start creeping in. So to be able to get a bit of confidence back and have a win, it's good. But you can sort of tell though by listening to the song how much a win it was, and the song was just we got through it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like a good win. It's echoing. You would have vibrate. You know what I mean? So I think this game would be moved on very quickly from John and his coaching staff, and going, let's look at Carlton. Everyone watch the game. Watch the game against the Giants tomorrow, wherever you can. Let's watch it. And they'll be zoned and penciled in for Carlton, because that's going to be a big game. If they can win that, that's going to be good.
Yeah. Now, well, you've been in the coaching game for a little while there, Ryan. If you're looking at Essendon right now, it's not a great place to be in the rooms at the moment. But what are you focusing on just for at least the next week? I know you probably can't take too much positives out of the game, unfortunately. But what are you actually focusing on next week to at least feel at least to get the group to feel energised and want to go out there and compete?
Well, it's got to be just something small to focus on, and let's make it. Let's take outcome out of the whole process. Let's have one win. Let's focus on something this week, and for me, it'd be, let's just have a contest. Like, go as simple as, let's get, all right, this week we're just going to have to get, like, man on man, you beat your opponent. And if everyone could just beat their opponent, that's a win for us. And let's not worry about the scoreboard. Take it out of it. Let's not worry about the stat sheet. Let's go. Let's beat our opponent, and let's just win the ball when we can.
Even just the tackles. Let's just out-tackle our opponent for 1 week. But
you got to be near your opponent to tackle.
Exactly.
That's the point. They don't want to go, it's like they're living in, the 1.5 isolate, COVID sort of rules. Socially distancing. Exactly right. But you got to pencil in one focus. Let's just focus on one thing this week, and let's do that. And our training's got to replicate what we're focusing on, and we just go smash that in our training, and that's our messaging, that's our theme, and then you roll that out for that week.
So that's what you would do. If you were coaching Essendon this week, you'd say we're stripping it right back to basics and we're going beat your man. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, well, just from what I've seen tonight, it's as simple as you got to do it.
Let's go down into the Sydney Swans rooms. Sophie Clappin has a special guest.
I do, guys. I've got co-captain Callum Mills with me. Cal, great game tonight. Congratulations. A deserved win, but after back-to-back defeats here at home, must be a bit of relief.
Yeah, it was. We had a pretty big focus this week of defensive mindset and being able to pressure and then team defence. I think Gold Coast chopped us up a bit last week and we were pretty disappointed, and to change it dramatically was pretty exciting.
How important was that fast start? Because the last few games you've struggled to get going in those early terms.
That's the other part that we talked about. We just focused on that 10 minutes, and it's really greasy out here at the SCG at night, so we just wanted to surge and get it forward and give our forwards the best chance, and they gave us a contest and we actually hit the scoreboard, which was nice.
And you yourself, 29 touches, I think 13 tackles tonight. How have you assessed not only tonight but your entire season so far? Because you're in great form.
Yeah, it's been exciting. I think we've been up and down as a team, and just being able to floor that out, and it's been exciting to get a couple of good wins.
Let's head upstairs to the experts.
Yeah, Gary Cal's Ron O'Keefe, mate. Congratulations, great game, and I thought, personally, that you led from the front, and it was that start. And you did mention it was a focus, but I can imagine Horse would have had you guys wound up this week, and training would have been pretty full on.
Yeah, it was. Pebbles, we had a real focus, as I said, defensive mindset and working as a team, and that sort of structure set us up well to be able to attack the contest. And once we got a good contest inside, we were able to hold good balance and then just get repeats on them and forward half footy, which was nice.
Yeah, very good. And I suppose would Horse sort of said, yep, good win, but let's look towards Carlton next week. Now watch them tomorrow and zero on them, because that'd probably be, to be honest, a bit more of a fierce contest than you had tonight.
Yeah, he sort of just wrapped up, talked about the things that we did well, and then said, right, get yourself ready, it's going to be a big week. So we're really excited. Playing Friday night footy for the next couple of weeks is the big stage, and we want to be able to perform against good sides. So we'll rest up, recover, and get into it.
Millsy, it's your old mate Cal Sinclair here, buddy. I actually agree with Ryan. I thought you actually led from the front tonight, and I thought the way you 13 tackles from the captain of the footy club I thought was absolutely outstanding, mate. You're playing good footy, but you're playing like a leader. Can you maybe share with us how you're finding settling into the captaincy this year?
Thanks, Steve. I've heard your comments recently.
Millsy?
You there, Millsy?
Sorry. I think we've lost
there
Millsy.
we go.
You there?
Yeah, go again.
Sorry, Big Chieftain, my battery just died on you.
It was like the all-time question. He was proud about it. He was a peacock up here.
I was actually...
That's what happens when you speak to him at the club too.
No, I was...
Who's this? Callum Sinclair?
Millsy, I was actually pumping you up. I wasn't giving you stick like I usually do. But my question was, the second time, how are you settling in to being the captain of the footy club? Because I think the way you're playing at the moment is of real leadership quality, and you did that tonight with 13 tackles.
Thanks, Big Chieftain. No, I'm really enjoying it, mate. We've got two other great captains alongside me with Dane and Luke, and they've been awesome, just helping me settle into the role, and you boys have been pretty good as well, Chieftain. So,
thanks, mate. I'll ask you one more, but who are the? I love the role players in the team, the guys that probably necessarily aren't in the side to exactly rack up 30 touches or kick 5 goals. But I thought, some players are pretty interesting. Sam Wicks coming back into the side, he's having a really big tackle count every single week. And I thought James Bell tonight, particularly early, was playing his role beautifully.
Yeah, well said, Chief. We love them in outside, and we really value that role. Wixie tackles like an absolute madman, so to have him back in the side and to get the pressure that he applied, and Belly, he does a lot of work rate that you, Chief, obviously know that no one sees on the ground, being able to give our defence and wingers opportunities to get back and support, and they're so pivotal to the way we play, and I thought they were really awesome. We had a great weight of numbers, I reckon, tonight.
Sorry to break up the Callum bromance. Daniel Garb here, Callum Mills. The first quarters, that's something that had been spoken about during the week in regards to the Swans. You'd lost 6 of 8 coming into this game, and you seem to wanted to make a point early on in this game to win that first quarter and maybe arrest that. What was said in regards to that, and what was done during the week to maybe try and change your first quarter slumps?
Yeah, we just wanted to surge it on. As I said before, it's pretty slippery out here at night, and we just wanted to do anything we could to give our forwards an opportunity, and we were able to do that.
Callum, We spoke a lot about Essendon's lack of tackles on our broadcast, just 30. How did it feel from being out there, the amount of pressure they were putting on you playing against that?
It's sort of hard to sort of say, really. We sort of played a real surge mentality the first 10 minutes, and then we were able to get a bit of uncontested marks around the ground and really try to take it off them. And once we did that and settled into a groove, I thought we were able to get some good flow on the ball.
Beautifully answered there, Millsy. I thought you handled it just like a captain would, mate. Very, very nice.
Thanks, Big Chieftain. You've been awesome, mate. Enjoy, boys.
He's wrapping up his own interview.
I thought that was a sign-off.
No, mate. Anyway, I actually haven't got a question for you. I want to actually stitch him up, but I probably shouldn't. You know, it's the ABC. You've got to keep it pretty clean.
Yeah. All right, Callum, we will let you go, even though you'd already ended the interview yourself. Enjoy your night. Best of luck next week.
Thanks, lads. See you, boys.
Yes, guys, there is Callum.
He was keen to go. You could tell the answer got shorter as the interview went on. As if to say, please let me get to my teammates and enjoy this win. Thanks, lads.
I've had enough.
It's hard for me to be serious in front of Mills. I share a locker next to him, and generally every single day it's hanging a bit of stick on each other. But giving him a compliment felt really uncomfortable. I'm not going to lie to you.
Well, I'll give him a compliment. I reckon he's well and truly in the Brownlow medal shout. I think he will be he'll be a chance. I think he'd be around the top of the leaderboard at the moment at this stage of the season.
Good call.
Good call. The only issue is that, it looks like guys like Paddy Cripps. He could already have 18, 20 votes. Paddy Cripps' start. I reckon through the first 5, he'd just about have 5 threes. So there's going to be some big numbers, it feels like, with the way guys are going.
Who knows with the voting? You just don't know. I think in today's game that the wrong people are voting on the Brownlow because their job's so intense and they've got to concentrate on that. It's like you still the players vote. Cal, you go
absolutely, yeah.
When you do the votes, I've got no idea. Like you sort of go, play it all right, like because you're concentrating, focusing on your role and getting what you're doing. Like there needs to be an independent panel that sits and watches the game objectively and then does the votes. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I think we need to start giving more votes outside of the midfield, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing because the midfielders are around the umpires, and it's just who's getting up off the ground and giving the ball back and all that sort of stuff.
You would have been a player, I reckon, that went up to the umpires before the game, had your nice little chat to them, just to get a couple of little, cheapy free kicks.
Always lovely the umpires. Always love the umpires.
So what did you do for the Norm Smith medal then? Did you find out who was polling on it?
He was very good. He was very good that day.
That was an independent panel sitting like that.
Exactly. That's why you like it.
Exactly
it was well deserved. We all know that.
Exactly.
That's all right. We've seen issues with that too. The great Lee Matthews got Jaden Short and Nathan Broad confused.
Oh, did it?
A couple of years ago, he gave 2 votes to Nathan Broad, who'd had it about 6 times.
I love the one of the 2000. I think it was the 2000
yes.
team in Collingwood. Scott Emilbury.
Well, there's the famous one with Nathan Buckley in, I think, 2002, when Voss seemingly sort of turned the game in the last 5 minutes or so, and Buckley won the Norm Smith.
Oh, yeah.
That's one of the contentious Norm Smiths.
Speaking of Brownlows and awards, I'd like to know your opinion on this one. Is the winner of the Brownlow 1996? I'm a massive North Melbourne nuffy as a child back in the day. Corey McKernan winning that. He has to be given that Brownlow medal.
No, he's suspended.
Yeah. He has the most votes. He has to be given.
Happened to Chris Grant as well.
I know he's suspended, but that rule has to go.
It's the best and fairest.
No, it's not. It's the Brownlow medal.
But the rule is for the best and fairest player.
I think it makes sense.
I think it's ridiculous.
As long as the umpires are voting on the award, given they adjudicate the rules, I think it makes sense that fairness is attached to it. But if you were to move...
Yeah, but they don't give out the suspensions, though.
Yeah, but traditionally they've reported people, which led to the suspensions. We've changed that recently.
Well, they very rarely report people now. It's all the suspensions done off.
Well, that's a good counter-argument.
What if there was a threshold that if it's anything worse than, say, a 2-week suspension, you can't win?
I still believe you've got the most votes and you're the best player.
I think there's enough of a punishment.
Provided you're not out there belting blokes.
The thing is as well that, if you're suspended for 4 weeks...
Well, you're unlikely to win anyway.
There's 12 possible votes you can't get, which is going to make it pretty difficult to win the Brownlow medal. Particularly the way it goes nowadays. So, anyway, we do need to get a little bit of a wriggle on with just what we've seen here tonight. We do have another game coming from Sydney tomorrow, out in the west of Sydney, GWS and Carlton, which obviously we get Carlton and Sydney next weekend. So we're used to these well, we'll be used to it by then with those two teams. But what are you looking forward to with that fixture tomorrow?
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. I think it's going to be a great game tomorrow in terms of the Giants going to come out. It's usually the coach gets the sack. Oh, sorry, got resigned.
Yeah. Mutually agreed.
Yeah, mutually agreed. However you want to wrap that up and put a bow on it. So, look, I think it's a bit of closure for the club and a bit of, okay, look, at least we know what direction the club's going to go. So the shackles could be off and we could see the Giants come out and play brilliantly. Look, they've got the talent to do that. And I think they're a good enough side. And Carlton's shown this year that they're a much improved team. They're playing some really good brand of footy under Vossi. So, look, I think it's going to be could be a really, really good game. And as I said, I think Carlton, if Carlton can come away with a win, it's really just putting another stamp on and go, yep, look, we're an improved team. We're really contending for finals.
Absolutely. And a big couple of weeks for Carlton as well. Obviously, a bit to play for with the Giants tomorrow. And I'm actually looking forward to seeing them up close. I haven't watched too much of Carlton this year. Looking forward to seeing how that midfield's going. Obviously, with we spoke about before, Chera, Cripps, and an ex-Swan, George Stewart, who's having a terrific season. So I think it's going to be a really good contest, and I'm curious to see how the Swans turn out. Not the Swans, how the Giants turn up tomorrow, knowing that it's Leon Cameron's last game as coach, and usually there's something a little bit extra to play for. He's been there since the start, so it'll be a nice game to watch.
All right, now good news for you, Ryan O'Keefe. You are the independent panel that is adjudicating the votes for this fixture here today. Start with an honourable mention, maybe, if you wish. Sometimes people go with that, but at least the 1, 2, and then the 3.
Yeah, 1, Lukey Parker. Look, I think, again, as one of the leaders, led really well. Fierce in the contest. I think he had 7 inside 50s, the top of my head. So, 2 to Chad Warner. I thought he was fantastic in the midfield. And then 3 to Callum Mills.
Yeah. I think it was always going to be Callum Mills. He did poll the 3 Brownlow votes the last time these two teams played. That was a 7-point win to the Swans. He had 33 and 1, and now today he's had 29, including 13 tackles and 7 clearances. So a fair effort from Callum Mills, and he's quickly getting to the point where he likes playing against Essendon. There's a few quick things to go through. Just repeating Callum Sinclair doing his best breaking news impersonation earlier that Nick Cox could be out for an extended period with a serious ankle injury.
I didn't say
He
that.
said it was syndesmosis and he's out for 10 and he's got to go get an MRI, which is a scan at the back.
I didn't, Ben. This is what you do.
This is not me.
This is what you do. You've done it a couple of times. I didn't say that. I said he hurt his ankle in the game, and it looked nasty. So I don't have any information. I don't want this popping up on social media or like
Callum Sinclair says
I don't want to.
Well, you were there and you saw it, and he hobbled off with a sore ankle.
Yeah, I know, but Ben,
you don't have to be a doctor to realise he's hurt his ankle and he come back on.
Mate, we wait till scans are done, all that yada yada.
Hey, mate, we're not clubland now.
We're not inside the 4 world.
I've been in there, mate. I've had the media training. I know how to stonewall it.
Yeah. Just on Tom McCartan and the collision, and I think the language is important there. I think it clearly was more of a collision than it wasn't even a bump. His arms were out, and he sort of ends up. It looks like a hip and shoulder, but he's trying to mark the football.
Eyes are totally on the ball. He didn't even see who was the Essendon player again? Caldwell, brilliant. Went back he had eyes on the ball. Tom had eyes for the ball, and went bang. They just hit each other, and just obviously Caldwell came off second best. Tom is a big lad, so look, that's just a collision. I said we play an evasive collision game. There's going to be collisions, so you do get hurt. That's just what happens, and unfortunately, there's no malice in it. His eyes for the ball, and that's play on in my opinion.
Yeah, the player has to have the ability to contest the ball when it's in dispute.
Totally. The ball was almost going to drop.
Yeah. I'm pretty confident the umpires are going to do their review, watch that one and go, there's absolutely nothing in it. You'd hate for that to be a final, a really, really close game. And
the umpires don't make the decision on this. It goes to the match review. It's a totally different...
I think he'll be okay.
He'll be completely fine.
He'll be fine.
I
don't think he's got anything to worry about there. The television broadcaster has been showing replays of when... I've forgotten who it was who bundled into Zach Merritt. I was distracted by Ryan O'Keefe saying...
Rowbottom.
That was a tad cryptic.
Yeah, by Rowbottom. Rowbottom clattered into him. He did sort of throw his head back. They have been showing replays. You're fairly confident that Rowbottom will be fine as well?
Yeah, totally. So, If he goes for that, I swear, I don't know what game I'm watching anymore, to be honest.
Only 14 disposals tonight for Zach Merritt. I reckon that is his lowest count in a long time. Usually he's up around the mid-20s at least, so he was very quiet tonight.
A couple of SMSs just rolling through as we wrap it up. Chris from Brunswick says, at this stage of the season, who do you think has been the outstanding coach this year? Who is getting their team to punch above their weight, getting the most out of their team? A quick answer.
I've got to say Brett Ratton. What a big win for the Saints today over the Cats by 10 points. Obviously, Justin Longview is having a great season. He's right up there. I think Brett Ratton is doing a fantastic job with St Kilda.
Yeah, no, I think there's a few. There's Brett Ratton. I think Michael Voss has obviously been super as well after the difficulty Carlton have had over a number of years. But I've been coached by Justin Longmuir while I was at West Coast, and really thrilled with the way that he's going there at Fremantle, the way they're playing, particularly defensively. I thought they've got a really great and unique system. And mate, all credit to Freo at the moment. And they're a good team to watch. I'll be curious to see how that Nat Fyfe introduction goes, coming back into the side. Obviously attracts a fair bit of attention, but they're playing a really balanced brand of footy, Fremantle.
Well, Longmuir coached the Eagles forward line when it was at its peak and absolutely humming. Went and coached Collingwood's defence and turned a sieve into a steel trap, and now has got Fremantle ticking along pretty nicely. So well done to Justin Longmuir over there with the Dockers. Cal Sinclair, good to see you again.
Good to see you again, Ben.
Been a long time.
Fantastic
to see you. Rock, good to see you. It always is.
Yep, great.
Garby.
Always good to have footy on.
Nice to see you, Benny.
Thanks to Sophie Clappin downstairs on the boundary. We're back tomorrow, this exact team. We're heading out west to the showground for GWS and Carlton. Grandstand AFL continues tomorrow morning. All of your favourite shows, starting with Sunday Grandstand with Corbin Middlemass and the team. We're looking forward to that. Here on Saturday night at the SCG, it was the Swans winning by 58 points over Essendon, who have some work to do. Good night.
Every big hit, every try, and every contest.
Tonga, he explodes through, intercepted by Latrell Mitchell. Bye-bye.
Grandstand Rugby League brings you all the action.
And out goes himself to skipper and scores. He picks it up with glee. Try.
The 2022 NRL Premiership.
His eyes lit up. They were like dinner plates.
Absolutely champagne rugby league.
On your radio, ABC Sport Digital Radio, and on the ABC Listen app. ABC Sport Digital Radio, your home of cricket.
This is an ABC podcast.
Fierce.
Girl power. Girl power. This is the story of the girl who became the world #1. Written and read by me, 11-year-old Kira Whitehouse. Whack! Ash zipped across the court, leaping, sliding and sprinting. Whack! She thumped the ball back and forth, sending it soaring over the net. Every stroke was filled with power, whack, passion, whack, and determination, whack. Ash watched as her opponent stretched her arm and lunged towards the ball. Will she make it? Ash wondered. No! The ball flew straight past her opponent, faster than a speeding bullet. Thump! It bounced off the court. Game, set, match, Miss Barty. She was speedy. She was strong. She was determined. She was Ash Barty, and one day, she'd be #1. Whoosh! 4-year-old Ash swung the old squash racket as hard as her little arms could. She swung and swung and swung some more as the ball bounced between the wall and her racket, over and over for hours and hours. All I want to do is play tennis, Ash thought. Her parents noticed her passion. Let's sign you up for lessons, said her dad. He took her to the local tennis courts. The coach took one look at little Ash. Sorry, we don't coach them until they're 8, he said. But Ash wouldn't take no for an answer. As the coach tried to turn them away, Ash stood her ground. I'll show you. Whack! Ash started hitting balls towards the coach. Whoosh! They soared straight past him. Whoosh! Wow, the coach said. You're a natural. And he asked little Ash to come back next week. I'll be here, she said. Ash was an incredible tennis player. She was always ready to hit the court, and nothing ever got in her way. Not stinking hot summer days, not even roaring, pouring thunderstorms. All that dedication meant Ash got better and better. By the time she turned 9, Ash was playing against 15-year-olds who towered over her. But what she lacked in size, Ash made up for with power. Whack! Soon Ash's skill caught the eye of officials. See that girl? They whispered. She could go far. And Ash did go far. Far, far away. At just 14, Ash was jet-setting across the world to play against the best of the best. 6 weeks in Europe sounds fun, right? But Ash wasn't having fun. She'd made it to the world's most prestigious tennis tournament for young players, Junior Wimbledon. But Ash was falling behind. Whack! She was hitting the ball as hard as she could, but it wasn't hard enough. Ash focused. You want this, she told herself. Keep going. Whack! Ash was fighting back fiercely. Whack! Ball after ball flew past her opponent until finally, game, set, match, Miss Barty. The crowd erupted. Ash Barty was crowned the winner. At just 15, a world champion. What a dream come true, people said. Imagine how lucky she must feel. But the truth was, Ash didn't feel too lucky at all. She'd been spending a huge amount of time away from home, away from her family, away from her friends. Ash would go to bed each night with tears rushing down her cheeks. She secretly wondered, should I have stayed home in Queensland? I miss everyone so much. As time ticked away, instead of getting used to being away from home, the distance wore her down. When she was 17, Ash only spent 27 days at home the entire year. 27 days, not even a whole month. Ash thought back to when she was 4. Back then, she was determined to play tennis because it was fun. Now it wasn't much fun at all. I want to be with my family and friends, not in lonely hotel rooms halfway across the world, Ash said. Is that so much to ask? The champ took a deep breath. I quit, she declared. Ash had just given up on the sport she'd been playing every day for 14 years. Back in Queensland, Ash was having an awesome time with family and friends. She even picked up a cricket bat and had a bash. She was a natural, hitting 4s and 6s everywhere. Ash loved being part of the team, but something didn't feel right. Cricket's great, Ash thought. But my true love is tennis. After a 2-year break, Ash was back on the court, more ready and willing than ever. Game, set, match, Miss Barty. Ash was rising quickly. She was on her way to becoming a tennis superstar. And she felt different this time. She was having fun, just like little Ash at 4 years old. Ash began 2016 unranked, and within just 2 years she was ranked 17th in the world. Ash zoomed higher, whoosh, and higher, whoosh, until... Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ashley Barty to the court. It was the 2019 Birmingham Classic. Ash was ranked 2nd worldwide. If she won this, her every dream would come true. She would be the #1 tennis player in the whole world. Wham! Ash hit the ball with all her might. I can do this, she thought. Ash was as nervous as she'd ever been. Whack! Ash zipped across the court, leaping, sliding and sprinting. Every stroke was filled with power, whack, passion, whack, and determination. Whack! The ball bounced across the court and out of sight. Game, set, match, Miss Barty. She won. The stadium and everyone on TV back home in Australia rose to their feet. Ash was the first Australian woman to reach #1 in 43 years. She was speedy. She was strong. She was determined. She was inspiration. She was Ash Barty and she was #1. This story was written by me, Kira Whitehouse. I think Ash Barty is super inspirational because she always tried her hardest. And when she faced a challenge, she came back stronger than ever. I hope to one day be just as inspirational as her to other girls. Roll the credits. This special series of Fierce Girls is produced by a bunch of fierce women. Our producer is Alex Lowback, script editor is Samantha Turnbull, and Isabella Tropiano is the sound engineer who puts in cool sound effects like this one. The executive producer is Monique Bowley. Kelly Reardon is the boss who lets us make fierce podcasts like this one. Fierce Girls is a production of the ABC Audio Studios. To hear more stories about other Fierce Girls, go to the ABC Listen app or subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And once you're finished, you should totally check out 2 other great ABC Kids podcasts, Short and Curly and McElroy Uncovered. And remember, keep being fierce.